It's time for Mike Erie's show. He's ripping off Callahan. He wants to find some fans to talk to, 'cause he's lonely on Saturdays. Mike was told to come up with something, and I guess this is what he did. We should give him some points for trying. Kirk wants to know what the point of this is. Just a warning for all you guys. You'll never get this hour back in your life. This is Mike and the Minifans. Mike is talking with you. This is Mike and the Minifans. Mike is talking with you. This is Mike and the Minifans. This is Mike and the Minifans. Mike is talking with you.
I gotta say, the taste of that peanut butter whiskey that Kevin from Bristol sent me, worth the sexual harassment that my mother has taken. Well worth it. Excellent song and an excellent whiskey from a made man, Kevin from Bristol. We got a lot to get to tonight. A Hall of Fame, as I called it, lineup with a lot of all-stars. If you're new to the Kirk Minihane world, you're going to meet some of the men who built the weird parody Twitter Miniverse, as it's been called. And we've got a lot to get to. But first, I want to tell you about our one of our most loyal sponsors, and that is the People versus Rich Kelleher's sticker campaign. The People versus Rich Kelleher's sticker campaign are working to keep the likes of Rich Kelleher out of your lives. And now you might say that it's getting a little ridiculous in the sense that we haven't heard from Rich Kelleher in months. A lot of people don't even know who that is, but these people are paying for us to mention his name. Now, that's a little suspicious in its own right, but I will say, fuck Rich Kelleher. He's whatever words are scrolling across your screen right now, and fuck that guy, because he's a real attention whore who hasn't asked for attention in some time, and I'm the only one giving it to him because these people are paying me. A little suspicious, yes, but fuck Rich Kelleher, and that's a message we can all get behind. Now, before we bring the troops in, I do want to monologue for a moment, mostly because I'd like to annoy DEC, who really hates when I do this, and he's on the program this evening, but also because I got a text. I don't get this a lot for non-show content, and maybe it will be on Monday, but Kirk Minihane texted us this morning and says, did you watch the Intern show? And even though it's my favorite program, I did completely forget that it existed. So I went and watched it, and I kind of noticed the same thing that Kirk seemed to. And Justin, as Kirk has said to me many times, do you mind if I give you a nickel's worth of free advice?
Of course.
You told me, so the reason Justin's not on mic or anything, he can't really defend himself here, but I don't think he's going to. You told me you were into doing the show last night or whenever you did it, right? Like you weren't feeling down or anything like that, right? Okay. So here would be my advice. You came off as very above doing the show, like you weren't interested in all that. And I know some of the questions you got were dumb, and you're probably tired of hearing people say, like, oh, I hope you're doing better, buddy. I understand that gets annoying. My advice to you would be this. A, if you're not up to doing the show mentally, if you don't feel like you can do it, anything like that, just tell us. I've told you this before. You'll get in more trouble from not telling us, because I think, especially me, I can understand where you've been and all that nonsense. So just tell us. Otherwise, I'm just going to call you an asshole. You know what I mean? I don't know where you're coming. But B, don't do a show if you're going to be like, I don't know what this stupid fucking question's for. I don't like doing it with Will. You know what I mean? Like, fucking, if you're going to do it, do it. Give it a little pizzazz, baby, because that Intern show was fucking rough. And we'll get into that. But do you understand what I'm saying a little bit? It sounded pretty fucking brutal. It sounded like there was a gun to your head.
Okay.
All right. All right. Now that my monologue is out of the way, bring on the men. Bring on because they're going to give me some guff this week. I hear there's guff to be served from DEC, and then there's some rivalry that him and Andy Mayo have, and then we've also got a new Minifan Hall of Famer in the way of the velvety smooth pipes of Mr. Ned Snark.
Yeah, he's goddamn hot too. I would turn.
Oh my goodness, a handsome devil. And he's got a hell of a voice. Ned Snark, you come up a lot because it's kind of Kirk's go-to reference for a ridiculous name.
Yeah.
Well,
What does that mean? Is that a reference that I'm not getting? Ned Snark?
well, Ned Stark, but I put the name in 2011 when I opened the account because I had to remain anonymous.
Okay, but it's not
But
something
there was
anyone said
nothing-
at some time.
No. But there was nothing like I was in Honolulu with my wife on vacation on June 17th, and Kirk mentioned me on I think the opening show. So I'm standing there at 5:00 in the morning, listening to the podcast, and you hear your name is dropped, and it was like, what the hell? So, so since then it's been pretty good.
Historic moment.
Historic moment.
Glad to have you all here.
Thank you for having me.
I guess I want to start with DEC's harsh criticism. Me and DEC go through this every 4 to 6 months, I would say, where we just trash each other for no real reason. What's your beef with my show, friend?
Well, I thank you for taking a break. I have the timer here going just to make sure that you're doing okay.
Hey, listen,
it really is not really a beef. I just kind of noticed. Go ahead.
It's my show.
I just kind of noticed that sometimes you shut up. I kind of noticed that you go on these rants for a while, and I thought it'd be funny just to cut up some audio where I'm cutting up the other people, where you're just talking over them. It's all about having some fun, Mike. It's about fun.
I figured you know I take valid criticism pretty well, so I figured we could go to the tape. I had Justin pull some of my monologue, you know, when I get a little out of hand, and we could see if it's ridiculous, if I could cut it down at all. Justin, do you have that for me? I just want to hear. Maybe we could critique this a little bit. What's the matter? What are you laughing at?
Boxes and playing in them. So I'm half distracted.
Back and forth.
She's back. This is the one I do feed. Yeah, that was the other daughter. You want to come over? You want to be on the podcast? No? Why not? Do you have something to offer? Tell everybody that I feed you. I don't feed you?
This is what a scintillating piece of dialogue. This is.
Yeah, I know.
That's what I should do. Hey, Alba, get in here. Don't get on the mic. I'm just going to talk to you for 5 or 6 minutes. What do you have to say for yourself? No, I'm kidding. Well, of course, I'm messing with DEC. What I want to play is.
I would say that was it my finest podcasting? No, it wasn't.
No, I'm kidding around. I actually want to break down some of my shit. Justin, pull up the real thing I wanted you to play.
So my buddy MH, this guy, he was sort of like a citizen broadcaster journalist type.
This is, by the way,
last year,
the CEO of Barstool Sports.
He's got like a little bit of a writing.
This man is conducting an interview with a business titan
investigation on the Murchison stuff, and
he's telling her who MHB is.
She asked.
I think she knows.
And he was going to be one of the people.
This goes on. I want you to keep in mind while I'm talking here. This is a man.
He actually had told me
who told me that I rant too much on my show.
And make sure you get Erica's response at the end, because she's just like, okay,
Andy, we'll never get to it. This is like
could not
9
give
minutes.
less of a fuck.
This is two business titans talking about strategy.
He got doxxed, even though he's kind of doxxed himself with his name. He's kind of pretty much said who he is.
I could not think of this many words to describe who MHB is.
Thought that KFC was.
If you ask me right now who MHB is, Andy, go ahead.
Who's MHB?
Oh, he's a parody account. He's a fan of the Kirk Minihane show.
Oh, okay. Where'd he go?
That involved.
I don't know. How would I know? I never met the guy.
I swear to you, the voice sounds good. This is the first time I've listened to this.
Serious.
KFC was
you got smooth tones.
This happened to me. It's because
now we've gotten to KFC.
And we legit had on-air and off-air conversations about this, and I'm like, you're kind of crazy, dude. Let's be honest. She's touching herself while I'm doing this. So
Yeah.
this is okay.
Swallowing a fucking pistol.
And there were some things with Benjamin Albright that happened, and he got.
This is when she decided to sell bars.
Right.
She'd never be connected to this fucking world again.
And then he disappeared.
I talked
this long. Oh my God!
This is a man who criticized my monologues.
It was a little rough.
Because you could just.
Yours goes about 30 times longer than this
my
most
God.
episodes, and then
And he
a guest
didn't.
starts talking and go right over
Is he
him.
still going, Justin?
Oh, yeah.
Oh my God!
Then he popped up on.
Also, Mike's
Friday,
levels are really
and
loud.
It's been a guns ablaze.
Am I too loud?
It's a.
Oh yeah.
It's
I know you
strange.
didn't cut this up because I'm
Not
looking at
behavior
the.
came from him, but it's strange. We had a whole bunch of fighting.
Oh, you got 40
He is
seconds
a
to go here.
Fascinating guy. I think I would see him as a great barstool person, a great writer, a great personality, but he takes a punch poorly. He has a bit of a glass jaw, And when he
That's
hears
actually
this,
true,
he's gonna
though.
lose his mind.
She doesn't need to know this though.
Oh, he would.
Yeah,
He would
all
sit
right.
around and-
You're right. All right.
All right, that's enough.
She's
Just
checking her
Jesus
phone.
Christ,
Yeah.
that was endless.
She's answering emails. Yeah.
Now you see, when put in that context, how ridiculous you can sound. Do you see?
No, not at all. I think that was doctored. I don't
don't
that
think
was
so.
real.
I don't think so. I think we had the raw audio up there.
I think she enjoyed it.
Well, maybe that's possible, but that's what I'm saying. I think Matt from Providence likes when I talk at him for 40 minutes.
But you know what came out of that though,
Yeah.
DEC, was the question you asked was the one I was waiting for, was about sales and advertising sales. And she told you clearly that whatever they do in the Watertown studio is fine. I didn't hear anything like you'll get support from New York, like a dedicated team. I mean, I think I'm in sales. I think you're in sales as well, right? You said you
Yes.
went into, yeah.
Mhm.
I mean, when you have a new account or an up and coming development account, you throw people at it. You throw the youngest, hungriest people at it. A small team, maybe 2 people, even 1. And this is like, your job is to sell this product. I don't care what you have to do. You sell it. And I don't ever see that from New York. Instead, it's, Steve or Callahan or whoever.
A producer, which is the most bizarre part.
Right. And that doesn't work.
Right.
We're a Big Cat and KFC. Like, you guys have some friends at headquarters who I presume must have some ties to the sales staff. None of them have any insight into a young gun there that might want to embrace the Kirk Minihane show.
Right.
I mean, I don't think that's their job to. They're worried about their own shit, to be honest. I don't think they're scouting out salespeople to give someone to Kirk. And to be fair to Big Cat and KFC, if there's a great salesman who's selling the shit out of something, I think they would want it for, pardon my take, or KFC radio.
Yeah, true.
You know?
So
So
not really
do you think
selling,
$1 million
pardon my take.
Do you think $1 Million Boys has just was thrown into the pool and everybody sell everything? No.
I don't think there's going to
I
be a
don't think
problem
so.
selling that show. Yeah, I think they're all very dedicated to selling that show, much more than the Kirk Minihane show, I would think. But
Right.
I don't know why that is. But I do know why that is. I think it's, for whatever reason, they can understand those shows more. There's not an easy way to sell the Kirk Minihane show necessarily, because even like we've discussed, I mean, there is an easy way. It's X amount of people listen. There's a crazy loyal fan base, 10 million things you could say. But when you're describing the show, we've talked about this, it's tough to describe. What is it? It's hard to really say. But that's kind of the job of a salesperson, is to come up with an appealing way to pitch a show like that.
I don't think they're really salespeople. They're order takers. Their
Right.
job has been,
Correct.
I can order take of how much do you want on Part of My Take? How much do we want on KFC Radio? How much do you want on Spit and Chicklets, which are pretty popular shows? All you have to say is the Kirk Minihane show has a demo about 24 to 54, skewing maybe in the middle there, men with probably income north of 60,000, maybe between 60,000 and 200,000. These are people who have money. These are people who are very loyal. You're going to get your money's worth. I could sell the show.
Right. Me too. That's what I thought too. It's like, what is the problem?
Let's start doing it, boys. Come on, get out there. Start making some calls here. Jesus. We're not just here to stick
compensation
around
will
on Mike and the
be-
Minifans.
Yeah.
So
DEC,
yeah, go ahead.
Yes.
why the fuck does Chris from Wakefield co-host your show now?
He
They're
doesn't.
buddies.
So what's your problem with Kristen Wakefield being on the show? I'm trying a whole bunch of different people.
Who are the whole bunch of different people?
I've had Lauren. I've had Chris. I grab
had
people
Chris
who I can
twice.
grab. So what's the problem with
It's a
that?
great show. The
Maybe
recap
I could
was-
have Chris on 3 times. Maybe I can have him on 4 times.
You don't
Maybe
find
I have
you
other
and,
people.
you don't find you and Chris are too similar in personality?
Who gives a shit?
Okay,
trying
who
different people.
gives a
I'm
shit
trying the
about the
people who
quality
I
of your
can-
podcast?
I'm so
Ooh.
glad that you are a critic. I've seen that you've just put your neck out there and have done your own podcast, your own blogs. You've taken risks out there. You have your own fan base. What have you done other than criticize everybody for what they do?
So DEC, so later if we talk about The Irishman, we shouldn't have an
Yeah,
opinion.
come on,
'cause we've
come on
never
back.
directed
I
a
would like
feature
you to
film.
come on back. Come on
So-
back to what have you contributed positively? I've contributed bits to the Kirk Minihane show, lots of sound drops,
Yep.
content behind the
Yep.
scenes. There are these things that you do that sometimes pass, sometimes fail. Sometimes I have a guest on the show who might do well. Maybe they don't. Maybe they're middle of the line, but at least I'm taking that risk. What is the risk that you're taking?
Well, I come on this show. I would come
Okay.
on your show if you ever asked me to. You don't seem to want to ask anyone unless you know they're going to be pally-pally with you.
How do you know that that's the case?
Because I'm looking at your track record of what you've done since MHB left.
Okay.
And the fact that you have Chris on, who's your friend and your sedated attack dog on Discord and Twitter, anytime anybody criticizes DEC, here comes Chris slumping over to go at them.
There are a lot of people who are my friends.
Okay. So
To be fair, DC is a pretty likable guy. I
He
don't
is
know
a
if a lot of
likable
people are going
guy.
to come on and shit
Likeable,
on DC.
except for
and I've
guys
said
like
before,
this.
he
Mayo jar.
deserves a lot of credit for all the work he puts into it. I'm not trying to take away from that, but I love the Minifan show with MHB, and to me, it was like you guys complemented each other well because you're so different, and I don't see you trying to replace that dynamic. I see you trying to get people that are more in line with you than they are like MHB, and I think it suffers.
How are MHB and I not in lockstep? MHB was my
MHB
friend.
is a fucking live wire, DEC. You are not. You were the more of the straight man and the even hand, and MHB was the wild man. And I felt like the show is really missing that wild man dynamic. And Chris from Wakefield is not that.
I think both Matt and Andy would be good on your show. Matt from Providence and this gentleman here.
I would do that. I would do Andy being.
Why
on
haven't
the
you
show.
asked me then? I see people telling
Why
me all the
haven't you
time on
asked
Twitter.
me? All the people who have come to me that I put on have talked to me. I have also put out a call saying DM me. I have nothing from you.
I'm not going to ask you to go on your show.
Then why are you complaining about why am I not
That's
on
a
the
strange
show?
response, Mayo.
Is that why Chris is on? Did Chris ask if he could co-host? Did Lauren ask if she could co-host? Oh, you asked him.
These were
She did
guest
ask.
role.
She did. Lauren
Okay.
did ask.
Okay.
There is a mix of some people who would be nice
Let
to
me
have
ask
on.
you this, DEC. On a scale of 1 to 10, how good was the Minifan show with MHB?
That's like saying, how is the Tonight Show with Johnny Carson versus how's the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon? It's a night and day difference.
So do you think the show's as
It was
good
very
without
good
MHB?
with MHB.
Is it as good now?
It's different.
Okay. Okay.
Will
Would I
MHB
like
ever
to
come
have
back?
MHB
to you?
on?
Yeah. Have you left the door open for MHB? If he said tonight, I heard you guys talking about me on Mike's show, and I want back in DEC. Let me back in. I want to do the Minifan show. Is he in?
That's a complicated question because
Well, you know,
Okay,
Andy,
well, what's
this is
the
one of
answer
those
to my
classic.
complicated? Give
This
me
is
a
one of those
complicated
classic
answer. I can handle
radio
it.
rivalries. A great radio pair was together for so long, up to 7-8 months they were together.
if I can trust that MHB is going to be on when he says he's going to be on, sure, I would love to have him on.
Right.
At this point, I don't see a track record yet of him saying, if I want to come on, I will be on and I'll show up at the time that I'm speaking and I'm not going to have an episode. Right now, he hasn't shown any interest in that. I have talked to MHB. We're good, but he hasn't shown any interest in doing that either. I don't know if he has the capacity to do that.
He might not be interested. What's going on with MHB? He's in and out of the hospital. Something going on. I texted him.
Right.
He seemed in good spirits.
He got soul cycled to death.
I saw that.
It happens all the time.
I texted him and said he and Portnoy have a lot more in common than he realized.
Those shows were fantastic when you guys are both clicking, but MHB ran into some sort of issues immediately after his doxing. And for whatever reason, and I respect those reasons because he was there from at ground zero from day one. He's got a lifetime pass for me personally. But the shows when he wasn't clicking with DEC were uncomfortable. And I couldn't really see his full point because every time DEC brought up a point of why aren't you engaged? Why aren't we getting together? He changed the subject or he tried to distract with the attention somewhere else. And I think he's got issues.
That's
Did you
interesting.
feel,
I
that was the
laid
case?
blame
DC?
at
I never
DEC.
really noticed that.
I learned, I remember asking him a lot of times on the air, look, and even off the air, if you don't want to do the show, you can tell me. If this isn't the right time or you want to do it less frequency, you just let me know the time.
Right.
But if we're going to find a time, you got to show up.
See, I thought it was more during the show. Like I used to pick up on tension between you guys when you would play that Iron Sheik drop incessantly. And then
for sure.
when you guys had your
Yeah,
brief
that was
little
necessary.
war, he threw that out there. He said something about you running that into the ground. And I remember listening and picking up on that. Did you guys
There's
never
a,
talk about like creative differences like that? Because there was
there's-
always
no, never.
tension towards the end.
Never.
That was a big thing. There was some tension. I picked up on that too, where there are some references that DEC threw out there that I would get, but most 28-year-olds would not understand. I think MHB was one of those. I think MHB and I are the same age. And there are certain things like who's the impression? Oh, Paul Lind. Like, I know who Paul Lind is, and I think your Paul Lind impression is very funny. But
Great.
most people my age have no fucking idea who that is. Like, MHB wouldn't understand what the fuck that was. So there were certain
sad.
things where
That's
some of your
very sad.
references MHB didn't get, and I think that's where some of the tension was.
All right, you try different things. I'm a big fan of Gilbert Gottfried. My
Me too.
my Paul Lind is really Gilbert Gottfried's Paul Lind.
I love
really
it.
just that.
I think it's
Don't
so
make any excuses, DEC. My 30-year-old daughter knows who Paul Lind is.
Who the fuck is Paul Lind?
Oh my
he was
God.
he was an actor. He was like a sitcom actor, right?
He's
In
one of
the,
the great anti-Semites of our time as well.
That's true.
He was
That's
Was he
true.
really?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. He was a drunk and he was a big
He
anti-Semite.
got arrested
He
like Mel Gibson style. He went on a rant that was recorded by the.
Oh, I didn't know any of this.
Oh yeah.
yeah, he also went on a rant. He was on the Hollywood Squares. He was center square
Yeah.
when the Hollywood Squares were hot, and he was known for going behind the scenes when they had lunch and he just bombed out of his mind and,
Right.
and screaming about the Jews and how they're ruining his career and stuff. Not
But
like
he was
Jews
a
and-
guy, Andy, that not to stereotype, but he was very stereotypically gay, like very flamboyantly gay.
Okay.
was-
He would
but
play
back
hide it
then-
either.
But Andy, back then it was in the closet, but out of the closet. It was like a
Right.
wink.
He
It
would
was like a
play
wink
he would
light.
play the dad on sitcoms and shit like that.
Right.
And no one ever but hey Paul, when are you getting married? That type of shit. So
Just-
he was a
Mayo,
funny
just-
character.
Just Google "Bye Bye Birdie" and the song "Kids." It's a fucking scream.
I'm not going to remember to do that. I got one more.
Come on.
I got one more DEC question.
Go for it.
Here we go.
Why didn't you want to be president of the Minifans anymore? You took
that's not a case of me not wanting to be
nominated.
president.
yes, it
No,
was.
he
Yes,
got
it
booted.
was.
So let me-
No, he didn't get booted. He
Elected,
chose
I
to
will not
resign
serve.
over what
So
was
let's-
obviously Kirk was making a joke out of an issue, and DEC was very quick to resign, and it made me feel like
you
he was
done?
looking for the exit as soon as he
Listen, put the cap on the mayo jar for a second. I'll tell you exactly what happened.
Oh,
if you want a
oh,
little
Here we
behind
go.
the
Here we
scenes.
go.
If you want a little behind the
You just
scenes
got
I did
stuff.
not
roasted,
anthropomorphize the mayo jar. You sick people did that. All I did was put up a picture of a comically large mayo jar. I don't think I'm the mayo jar.
You are.
What's behind?
I guess I have.
So-
I guess I have become the
Stop
mayo jar.
talking for a second. If you want to learn something, I'm going to teach you. So we're going to break the fourth wall here. Here's what happened. I went on and I innocently put on that one of the places that the Minifan show is
I understand.
radio.com, along with
understand.
iHeart, along with Stitcher. Kirk didn't like that very much. So some people went at me. Kirk had a couple things. And then Kirk reached out and said, hey, it would be really funny if you did this and not
Wanted to tear
do
down
it
the
as
fourth wall, right?
uncomfortably
Oh,
as MHB did.
so the
So
question
I
is, why
took his
didn't
advice and I
Kirk
put a
want
video
you to
up.
be president anymore? Kirk suggested
Because
that it would be funny if you resigned.
It would be a funny bit if you resign.
Huh? Oh, Mike, ask Kirk. I'd be
You know,
interested.
this
to
is
know about
really
that.
tearing down some walls here that I don't know if
So
they were
let's
meant
say
to
that.
be torn down.
If I'm not the president anymore, so what? Maybe it's time to elevate somebody else.
Yeah.
Patrick deserves to be the president. It's like,
Hey, if that's
It's like-
your
it's
answer,
like
that
Hulk
I've always
Hogan.
been curious
Does Hulk
why
Hogan need-
you resigned. If the
does
answer
Hulk
is to
Hogan
elevate
need to
someone like
strap-
Pat, that's
no,
fair.
you got to elevate somebody like Rey Mysterio.
Well, who
Let's
should
elevate Patrick to
Patrick,
give him the
Let's get down to
presidency.
Patrick,
let's get down to
come
some
on.
serious issues. Who should be the president? I want to
Patrick.
know that. Who deserves? Is it?
Have
Is
we
it Patrick
talked
that
about the
deserves it?
president?
I think we're incapable of
Maybe
being
Hulk.
led.
Well, that's
I like that answer.
Yeah, it's we're gonna actually every president we have will suffer a mutiny.
Every president will be
single one.
impeached.
Yeah, it's impeached if they're
No.
lucky, but assassinated more likely.
So
Who is president? Patrick?
Patrick? I think right.
Patrick.
Yes.
Yeah.
But we don't talk about that stuff anymore. It's a
Correct.
bit. It comes, it goes.
Fight Club.
Listen, I'm Secretary of Homeland Security. Okay, DC, you may poo-poo the presidency.
And you don't
I
know who the
would
president
die
is?
before I let someone strip me of that title.
So
I
you
take
two
it
have
very serious.
some sort of weird beef. Where does this stem from?
I'll tell you where it stems from. When
Please
they got Luke O'Neill fired in the early days, I questioned MHB and DEC on Twitter about whether it was hypocritical to get a guy fired over what were clearly jokes.
Mhm.
And then
I was
on-
with you on that.
on the
Me and
Minifan
MHB
podcast-
kind of argued about it.
Of course.
DEC was like, that Mayo guy really made me question my motives and question whether I was hypocritical. He's such a dick. So that was early on. And then DEC has never acknowledged me since then until he called me one of the biggest pieces of shit on Twitter because I joked that him and Chris are kind of boring.
I
That's
get
really
triggered when you go after my friends. So Chris is my friend, and that did trigger me. You can go after me, but that triggered me. I probably shouldn't have gotten triggered, but I did, and I did call you a piece of shit, and I shouldn't have.
Which is fine. I don't care, DT. I know you don't think I know in real life I'm not a piece of shit. It's fine.
The beef is really no more than I didn't really think of you, and every time I see you on Twitter, it's poking the bear, poking the bear, poking the bear. That's the only thing it is. So it's like, well, who the fuck is this guy? All he has is a string of negativity and nothing positive or constructive to add. So it's really not much more than that.
See, I don't think you'd feel that way if you spent more time in the Discord.
I've spent enough time in the Discord.
No, not enough.
I need a shower after I'm in the Discord.
People like me more in the Discord because on Twitter, you're right. You take your shot and you poke the bear, and then it lands the way it lands. In the Discord, you take your shot, it lands the way it lands, and then you're still talking to that person. So you get beyond the initial jest, and then you actually have a dialogue with the person. So I know you think Discord's a cesspool. I actually find it's a lot more amicable in Discord than on Twitter.
I have never, as of late, I have not found it to be a positive place.
Because you go in and dump on Blind Advocate.
Yeah, but that's fun. That's fun. That guy is a turd.
That's my guy.
The C word all the
Andy,
time.
I think this all comes down to the fact that you're not in that Twitter private chat.
Oh, that's bullshit too.
Okay.
What? That ship has sailed. I should have been in there from the beginning. Beginning.
Seems like
you guys mass reported Riccio,
like
right? That came out on the show this week.
Mass reported? What?
No, mass reported. Steve Robinson on the show this week alluded to we've mass reported accounts before on Twitter.
Oh, he didn't
that
know
was not.
He said Riccio.
He said it was done to Riccio, but who does he mean by we and mass report? That had to have been a direction issued out through that little private chat.
Correct. Me either. I'm with these.
Why do you think that there's such a conspiracy? Can I speak to this one? I can tell you, I reported Riccio, but I reported Riccio.
There's always a fucking conspiracy with Andy.
Sounds insecure, and it's based on insecurity. Come on, Matt.
No, I like Andy. I like Andy a lot.
I'm wrong.
I like Andy
a lot.
So I like Andy better on this format because he sounds reasonable and he has some good takes. It's when he starts ripping shit and just pushing buttons. That's the thing that kind of pisses me off. So I just generally ignore him. Because
we wonder what the motive is behind it.
Yeah,
the motive is that it's fun to push buttons
because he wants to be in this group, and okay.
No, let me tell you guys, and
let me give you my. I've sat back long enough here. I've not monologued for about.
Yeah, Mike, you're doing good.
Sit down.
Hang on a second. I'll put the.
Finally,
if first of all, I would like to say I like that. I know. I like that. This cocksucker, mild-mannered 45-year-old DEC
44
is like an 18-year-old.
God, I wish
you listen.
44.
Now listen. You can say whatever the fuck you want about me. You go after my fucking friends, bro. That's what I draw some fucking lines.
That's the best age, DEC.
Yeah.
Stay there.
But I
44 to 47 is great.
I like Andy. I think he starts some shit, but I think usually when Andy questions shit, it's somewhat valid. I've never seen a question from Andy where I'm like, oh, he's just being a cocksucker. I think generally he has some disagreements that are somewhat valid.
Thank you, Mike.
I got
but you're also a big AJ fan.
No, I'm not.
Well, you were for a long time. You were a late jumper.
Yes, I was. But
what's wrong with being an AJ fan?
I like AJ. I think she's nice. I don't know.
Okay, you know who else I like? I like Rich Kelleher.
Behind the scenes.
I like
Rich Kelleher. Well, now I'm out.
I do. I do like Rich Kelleher.
Can I share something?
We don't shit on the sponsors here. We do not shit on the sponsors of this program.
Wait.
I also like the campaign against Rich's sticker, whatever it is.
Thank you.
I like them too. My point is, I like pretty much everybody. If I don't like someone, I've blocked them. There's like 4 people I've blocked in the Minifan world because they're just truly, I don't even know. They're just random accounts that would just start dragging me and we're never funny and we're just assholes. And then one guy was responding to my tweets at like 3 a.m. from shit I wrote back in July. And I was like, I'm going to end up a skin suit. So I just blocked him.
Those are trolls.
But my point is, I like everyone in the world. And I think Kelleher has a point, Mike. Maybe you could shed some light on this. Intern Will has not really proven himself to be the brightest bulb lately. And if he's the origin of the Kelleher was profiting off the sticker program, it does bring that into question. But maybe you know more than we do. Maybe there's no question about that from everything you guys know behind the scenes.
Well, I didn't know anything. I didn't know Will was involved in that in any way. I just heard I've gotten screenshots from people saying like, "Hey, I sent Kelleher this money. I never received stickers, shit like that." I never heard anything from Will. Maybe Steve did. I don't know, but I didn't know Will was involved in that at all.
I will let you know that Rich Kelleher reached out to me recently and asked to come on the Minifans show. I am not opposed to it because, much like you, Blind Mike, I don't want to silence people. However, I shared it with a few people who are big fans, and unanimously, they're like, we don't want to hear him. So I feel like I'm in a quandary that I don't want to silence somebody. I'm okay having a conversation with him, but I'm also afraid of a revolt.
Well,
I feel like this is a product people don't
when you
want.
say you shared it with people, does that mean you shared it with the private group?
I didn't
know
know
what I did is
Andy's very jealous.
I went down to the
what do
the
you
Masons.
think? Do you think it'd be
I went
interesting
to the
talk to Rich
Masons,
Kelleher?
and after
if
we
he'd be interesting, have him on your
north
fucking
to
show.
south
Who cares what
in
the
a
crowd
southerly
thinks?
way. Shut up a second. I'm talking.
damn.
I went to the Mason place. We had our secret handshake. We exchanged rings, and I told the headmaster, should we have Rich Kelleher? And he said, "Thou not haveth Rich Kellehereth, and no mayo."
It's a great
No
bit.
mayo in the
That was-
Masonic
This camera
Lodge.
angle.
It was, if we
he
let him
does
get
look
that
like
out,
a
it would
guy.
have been
Every
funnier.
second,
If
yeah.
we let him get out the first time, it would have been funnier.
It would not have been.
My stance on Kelleher is it's not for me to let him back into the world, as I know a lot of people hate when anyone says that. But I would say if Kirk ever has him back on or wants to talk about him or whatever, then I would feel more comfortable having him on. But until then, I just don't think it's right. It's not my place to have him on this show.
And
or
I am
anywhere.
DEC, can I give you a
I'm kinda
nickel's
there.
worth of free advice? If I was you, and if I had a podcast like you have, which as you pointed out, I do not have. If I was in your shoes, I would have Rich Kelleher and I would have MHB, and I wouldn't have them be in character. I would actually interview them about what it's like to be super fans who get really close to their hero and then have their hero call them the C word like 80 times and kick them out of the fan game. That would be interesting.
You know
If they could drop the characters
Andy,
and actually
they
talk as
can't.
They
people
won't,
about
though.
what
That-
that's like.
Andy,
Rich
they
Kelleher
won't.
certainly
could.
cannot. MHB
Rich
probably
won't-
could.
won't
But.
do- yeah, exactly. Rich Kelleher will not do that. Kirk had him in studio and he couldn't control himself.
Because he was
He's
trying to
that
be
guy.
Andy Kaufman. I think if you laid
Right.
it out to him like that and said, we're going to have a conversation as actual people about what that experience is like,
I
that
don't
could
see
be
it
interesting.
happening. MHB, yes. Kelleher, no.
Well, do it with
Yeah,
MHB
this-
then.
So, but that's not a case of me saying, okay, have him on. MHB has to be agreeable and has to have the capacity. I don't think he does.
For a one-time thing, you're not asking him to do a weekly show again.
I'm hesitant.
I can't
All right,
believe we're
I'll
talking
do it
about
with
Rich
him. I'll
fucking
do it with him,
Kelleher.
and I'll release one episode of a podcast,
Andy,
and then
I
you
think
can
this
never
is-
throw that you don't have a podcast card in my face.
You
again.
should. You
I'll
should
say
try
I
it.
do, and we had one episode, and it was quite good. And then we
I'm
stopped.
sure he will. I'm sure he's watching this or can't hear it. My concern with MHB is real that I don't want to push him in a place where he's not ready to be pushed. I don't
Right,
know if he's
right.
fragile right now. I
Yep.
don't know what his health situation is. And it's not just a case of saying, hey, MHB, you want to do this? Maybe he can, maybe he can't. Maybe he would feel guilty, doesn't want to do it. I think this is more of let MHB be, and he'll let us know when he's ready to do some stuff.
He's lurking anyway. So let him do it at his own pace. And he'll come back in when he's on more stable ground.
Boys, I want to get into the future of the Minifans show in a second, but first I want to tell you about our other sponsor this week. My good friends at Peak Image Med Spa, peakimagemedspa.com. Listen, I don't know if any of you fellas can relate to this. I'm sure you can. You know, this really affects me when I'm trying to make videos. If it's just a selfie shot, whatever. You ever try to take a selfie and you got to raise the camera to hide that double chin?
Oh, yeah.
And they put this in the copy, and it seems like a direct shot at me. Are you sick of having to grow a beard to hide that jawline? Yes, I certainly am. Well, you go to Peak Image Med Spa, and what you do is you get their treatment where they basically just give you a couple injections. They kill the fat cells in your neck right here. So you don't have that double chin anymore. You don't have that fat neck when you're in pictures. You don't look like a fucking slob like Mike Geary. clean that neck up right away. Go to Peak Image Med Spa, peakimagemedspa.com. You can get their phone number. They've got locations at the Split in Braintree, my old stomping grounds, or at Kenmore Square. So when you're out heckling the Red Sox this season afterwards, you can get rid of your neck fat at Peak Image Med Spa in Kenmore Square or Braintree. The like I said, location scrolling by. And actually, Justin, you want to read the phone number just for our blind listeners?
781-261-6122.
And that's peakimagemedspa.com. Go to peakimagemedspa.com for all your information. They've got plenty of other treatments as well. You can get Brotox or Botox, whichever you prefer. Any of your cosmetic needs. Leave Peak Image Med Spa and be looking fucking fantastic. That's really what they offer you, and you can't beat that. All right, so what I want to get to is the future of the Minifan show. Now that we've talked about any guests you have or haven't had on, what do you think the future is? Do you kind of keep doing it the same way, where it's going to be Chris from Wakefield? Are you going to try new people? What are you looking at?
Yeah, I'm going to try new people. I've invited the Aussie. I think the Aussie would be great.
He's very good. I like him.
That was great.
I watched a little bit of that, and I watched.
What do you guys think of
a
that
podcaster.
Manners is very good.
Loved it.
Manners,
they were both great. I loved it.
They were both good, but I think Manners struck me as having a little more polish. Like I could see him regularly hosting something. But yeah, they both were good.
Well, what are you saying? He's a podcaster?
He's a podcaster. He's done it for a long period of time. So yeah, he's got some chops. Mail, I'm happy to have you on if you want to be on. I didn't know you want to be on. So here we are again. We're at a place of I want you to have people who are going to challenge you, who are going to be different. You don't ask people.
All right, I'll do it if you stop. If you just stop with the
I ask you and you say,
shut
up. I ask you and you say, well, now I don't want to do it. This is the thing that bothers people and bothers me about you is it's pushing buttons and it's like, do this. Will you? No, I'm not. I'm not going to shit or get off the pot.
I'll do it. Ask you nice. I can only see a grown man beg so much. I will do it. Let me know when. I will do it.
You got it.
I will do it.
Okay.
So Andy's going to be on.
I'm thinking not this week, next week, because I think I'm going to get the Aussie on this week. But if you can do it the week after, we can try that.
Awesome. I like it.
Madawaska
week, a preview for Madawaska, I guess, or a post view. I'm not sure.
Neither of us will be there, right, DEC?
I'm not going. No.
I'm not going. I can't go.
Ned Stark is going to be there?
Fuck yeah, of course. I was one of the first to sign up, goddammit.
Oh, my God. Wow. I think it's going to be a...
TJ Hubbard gave me references for boots, gloves. When I left Maine in 2009, I put everything I had on eBay, all my LL Bean shit. So I have nothing to wear except for like business stuff, which won't work.
You're going to be in trouble.
You're going to be in trouble. No. Thank God for TJ. He sent me, a glove reference, boots reference, everything. So I'm all set.
Oh, good. TJ's good. TJ's in the second half of the show.
He's fucking dynamite. God damn it,
I guess I'll say this to Ned Snark and anyone else who wants to join me. So I think what I'm doing now is we're doing a live Mike and the Minifans up in Madawaska, and it's going to be at Big Rick's, like a bar up there. I assume the only bar they have. I don't know. And I think my co-hosts are going to be Kevin from Bristol and Lauren Lynn. And then I think the third chair, I'm just going to alternate people. Like a few people obviously has asked me to be on.
He's great.
I think Blind Advocate asked to be on. Ned Snark, if you're up there, whoever. I think it'll be me, Kevin from Bristol, and Lauren Lynn, and then we'll just filter out a fourth person. And I think we're gonna do the knockout game every time. Every time someone gets boring, they're gonna be knocked out.
Very boring.
Courtesy of Blind Mike.
So when will that be, Mike? When will that be?
That'll be the Friday night in Madawaska.
What time?
Justin, you think we can make it there for 8 o'clock? I told them 8 o'clock.
8 o'clock would be good.
You think so? All right. So Mike and the Minifans starting at 8 o'clock. We'll go until it gets boring, I guess. We'll do an hour, 2 hours, however long people want us. So we're hopefully, if we can make it there, weather permitting, by 8 o'clock at Big Rick's in Madawaska. So come check it out.
Okay, I'm landing in Bangor at 3:40. It's a 3 hour and 30-minute drive from Bangor Airport. After I get my car, I'm renting a car. I should be there by 7:30. I'm staying at the 4 Points in Edmonton, across the border.
Oh, okay.
And we lost DEC.
He'll be back. Get him back.
He's
and if anybody needs a ride,
DEC doesn't like if I talk for more than 40 seconds. DEC checks out.
We all do.
But now wait a second. That's
But if anybody needs a lift, if they're in the Bangor area, I'm gonna probably rent an SUV. So if they want to get up there, but so I could be there by 8 o'clock. That'd be great. What about Miami? Are you doing a Mike and the Minifans in Miami?
That's going to be more difficult. So you're
gotta.
down there, right?
I'm here, and I'm not traveling next week.
If we can get together. So this is another Mike and the Minifans listeners, viewers, whatever. If you're going to be down in Florida, reach out to me. I know a couple of people already did. Reach out to me again. Because I get enough DMs that I forget who's who sometimes. If you're going to be in Miami, reach out to me. We'll try and put together a Mike and the Minifans. I'm also going to do a live Discord chat. I'm trying to do as many things as possible because it's sounding like I'm not going to be allowed to do a lot of shit down there. So I'm trying to do as many Mike and the Minifans type stuff as I can.
Can I make a suggestion, Mike?
Please.
I think a big splash in Miami would be if you get the ultimate Minifan, KFC, on Mike and the Minifans.
I'll try.
He'll be down there. You should do it. Just,
I'll try.
Here's what
I think that would have to be, Andy. Is it would have to be me and I don't think he'll do it, period, because he's going to be busy down there. He's got a lot of he does radio every day. He's going to have plenty of shit going on. He's got to record a couple podcasts. He's going to be on Kirk's show, blah blah blah. So I just don't think he'll do it. I don't think he's going to have time for it. But if I do get him to do it, I think it's going to have to be me and him. I don't think he's going to sit down to do me, him, Matt from Providence, and Rich.
I knew you would say that, but it has to be somewhat reverential. Is that the right word? Whatever. You know what I mean? To KFC because he's a big deal. But it also has to be mostly him just being here like any other fucking Minifan on the show.
Here's what I think we should. Here's what he might do.
That's actually a good idea.
I think it's a great idea. I just don't know if KFC would do it. Here's what maybe we could do.
Get Kirk to pressure him.
Is if we just kind of a Mike and the Minifans where the Minifans are like a live chat of some kind. Where you guys can ask for, like, if I have Justin reading questions or something,
like Discord.
You stick with this. You make him. You make him be a fucking a Minifan like everybody else.
I love that, Andy. I think it's a great idea. I just don't
come in and shit on DEC for 20 minutes.
Set it up in your hotel room. It's not going to be that difficult. Look, I'm in a freaking office in my house. Come on.
Yeah, I just don't know if he'll do it. That's the problem. KFC thinks he's above this.
He does have a history of doing what he wants to do. That is true.
He's in the closet.
Well, DC, did you guys ever talk to him about doing the Minifan show?
Yeah, MHB did, and he set down a number of conditions. MHB, you have to go on your bio. You have to put your real name. It has to be your real name for this period of time. And then with that, no, I'm not going to do it.
With me, he'll be more lenient with that shit because he knows me a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know what his problem is.
He's not, you know what I mean? He's not going to make me dox myself because I am already out there. But I just don't know if he'll do it. I don't know if he'll have any interest in doing it. And like I said, he's going to be fucking busy down there. So it's going to be tough.
Right.
But no, Andy, it's a great idea, and I will definitely try that. You know who might be more likely to do it?
Big Cat?
Yeah.
No. Big Cat loves you, man. He's the mentor you need, Mike, that Kirk doesn't want to be.
I would say that Big Cat's the biggest. He's the biggest personality at Barstool. I could make a case of even bigger than Dave.
Easily.
Yes.
Well, Big Cat. Dave is bigger in the sense that without Dave, Barstool is not Barstool. As much as we shit on Barstool, it's a totally different place without Dave Portnoy. It's not the same anymore. But Big Cat is the biggest star in the sense that he's the most likable, most relatable, and the most Big Cat could translate to other places. Like Big Cat could be on Fox Sports and still be funny, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? And still do what he does, not be a sellout. I guess I'm saying, like, still do what he does, kind of.
Can I ask a Miami question, Mike?
Go for it.
All right. I lost my friendship with Kirk over this. He declared us not friends anymore in the Discord because I pushed him on this. But Barstool told Kirk just him in Miami. They said Blind Mike's not going.
Right.
Kirk never fought for you to go to Miami, and then the Minifans fundraised for you to go. So what's the deal with Kirk not thinking you're important enough to be in Miami? And then he said, "Oh, Mike could phone in." So I pointed out to Kirk that when Fourier would phone into his show because he was doing Sunday Night Football or the preseason, whatever, Kirk would always shit on other shows who thought they had more important things like Scal and Pals, more important things going on, and they're phoning into the show that's supposed to be the priority. So to me, it was kind of like I understand Kirk wants to do what Barstool needs him to do, and I respect that. But I'm a KMS fan. I'm not a Barstool fan. So it means a week of KMS suffering if you're phoning in order to benefit Portnoy's shitty radio lineup because he needs Kirk. So what the fuck? Why didn't Kirk go to bat for you?
Right, because you are Robin Quivers with cancer. That's exactly right. You're calling in
cancer,
from your
Mike?
home. No,
I thought you meant me in general. I thought you meant that was my level.
No. What was it? In the early 2000s, Robin Quivers got cancer, and she was like in studio, but she really wasn't. She's calling.
Right, she was at her house.
Oh,
correct.
No,
Howard never let anybody know that. So
I don't think it would have.
wrong.
I assume what would have happened if I wasn't going to Miami is that I just wouldn't. I don't think I would have phoned in. I don't think Kirk would have wanted that. I assume it would have been a week of Big Cat in one day, Carabas, Feidelberg, and Kevin or something like that.
Yeah. How do you feel about that? How do you feel about that?
I wouldn't have liked that, which is why I wanted to go. So,
but how do you feel about Kirk how do you feel about Kirk being okay with that?
So I saw that. I saw this question. This is why I said earlier, Andy Mayo is very conspiratorial because I don't think Kirk. So I mean, first of all, remember Steve's not going on Barstool's dime either. Barstool didn't want either me or Steve there.
Well, that's bullshit. Fuck them for that.
It was silly. It's silly to have Kirk there and not the rest of his podcast.
Because they don't give a shit about his show.
I don't think they even know they exist on the podcast.
That's correct.
That's the problem.
I agree with that. They think Steve's a button push. I think they probably assume me and Steve are both producers.
But the GoFundMe was fucking awesome.
Yes.
So
here's my answer, Andy. I think that's what Kirk wanted. Not necessarily that the Minifans create a GoFundMe, but I think it was something like that where everyone's involved, where it's a story of getting me down there, Mike to Miami. And oddly enough, we had a discussion, me, Kirk, and Steve, where we said, let's talk about it on the air. That's usually where this type of shit gets done. And credit to the Minifans, I think before we even mentioned it on air, Patrick or Matt or someone said, let's start a GoFundMe to get Mike to Miami because the show's not going to be the same. So the credits to the Minifans for beating us to the punch, kind of, because we had talked about mentioning something getting done on air, and before we ever got the chance, you guys took care of it.
Oh, Kirk sang he sang a different tune in the Discord, and maybe he
possible. Maybe he doesn't want me
in cheek, and I took it too literally.
I mean, maybe he doesn't want me there. I have no idea, but I would say this:
surprised he seemed willing to let them hurt his show for a week.
That is strange. I would say this: I think if Kirk genuinely didn't want me there, like passionately didn't want me there, I don't think I would be there. I think don't bother going, refund everyone's money, blah blah blah.
And he would have talked about it on air.
I think you're going down a conspiracy again here.
It's not it involves one conspiracy has to have multiple people.
Is that white wine?
Okay, grassy knoll. So
no, it's Stella, Ned.
Screwball peanut butter whiskey.
Stella a couple weeks ago on the show, and somebody said you got to get the glass, so I did, and it classes up the joint.
I think you're overthinking this one. I think this is a case of
I'm not overthinking it.
Kirk doesn't really give a shit about Miami. I think he's being told to go. I'm going to go. I'll do what I have to do. But this is not really a big deal for me.
But so his show is a big deal. His show is a big deal. And Barstool essentially said, we need you to hurt your show for a week in order to help us. Right. And I was surprised that he was so compliant with that. Well, and that this conversation never happened on the podcast. He never looked at Mike and said, Mike, you're not going to Miami. What do you think of that? I don't think you need to be there.
Can I tell you the beauty of the Kirk Minihane show, Andy? Is that it's both the nature of the show and what we talk about and everything, and Kirk's talent is that if things go disastrously, it's almost better than if things go perfectly. Case in point, last Thursday with Steve. It would have been terrific if Steve had the Periscope sound cut up. It probably would have been a humdinger of an episode, a whiz bang of an episode. But instead, we got maybe the best episode ever because things went horribly. You don't want to do that if it's not genuine. You don't want to just say, "Hey, let's pretend things went wrong." But if I'm calling in, or if I'm not there and it's just Kirk and Steve or whatever, and the show's not quite the same, then it's almost there's an aspect of it might be better because it's a disaster. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Not saying it would be a disaster if I wasn't there, certainly. But if things went wrong, if me and Steve both weren't there, if we had to call from a different room or whatever it was, I think there's almost a benefit to that in a weird way.
Well, all right, Mike. My big picture question that stems off this is: are you essential to the Kirk Minihane show?
I believe so, but you know what?
You should bring that up with Kirk on air.
I believe DEC put it best. And he said this about both me and Steve. I think the show is better with me than without me.
Of course.
However, if I'm fired tomorrow, it'll be weird for a week, and then they'll start bringing other people in, and then it'll be like, oh, remember when that guy was? You know what I mean? I think I do add a lot, but I don't. I think it's the Kirk Minihane show for a reason. It's not.
Of course,
it's not called Kirk and Friends.
But what do you think the show would be?
It does not mean you suck. It
right,
just
exactly.
means that Kirk is the only indispensable person, just like the Howard Stern show. Howard moved on when Jackie left and Artie left. I think the show with Artie was a lot better, but he did move on.
And there are Jackie people and there are Artie people. And when I get fired or kill myself or however it ends, it'll end horribly.
Don't kill yourself.
Well, we'll see.
We'll
see how things go in Miami with Justin in my bed. But just until let's make a pact. We'll see how things go.
That's all good.
We'll see how things go. But what'll happen is, if I get fired or die or whatever, people will say, I like the show when Mike was on, and then some people will say I like the show better when Dave Callahan was on, whoever the fuck replaces me. I don't know.
No,
that's true, but I think
stop. Everyone stop. And Andy, I think you're with me on this. We can admit that this show, in its present form or any future form, is 1,000 times better than that being with that motherfucking Callahan.
Yes.
We have 10 minutes left. We have 9 minutes left.
Let's shit on Callahan.
Jerry fucking Callahan.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny?
Don't talk. No, don't talk. Stop.
Go ahead, Ness.
Stop. I couldn't stand DNC. And I did like the hate listen thing like I used to do to Felger and Maz, right? When Kirk came on the weekends, I had the app. So in Maine, we couldn't get the station in. So, I had the app at the time. And then when I moved to Florida, it was great. And I remember listening to Mutt and Kirk on weekends thinking, who are these two guys? I mean, they're talking about sports. They don't really know much about it, but they were funny. So what was it? Kevin Winter jumps in between Meter leaving and before Kirk. And I accidentally listened to it at the gym because I can't stand Toucher and Rich. So it's early morning hours. I'm in Florida. I put it on. I'm like, well, this is different. Meter's gone. I didn't really like Meter that much anyway. I know he's a nice guy. Everyone loves him, but he was a Jerry butt boy, to be honest. Everything Jerry said, he agreed to. Well, hated Dino, hated fucking Jerry because nobody challenged that fucking cocksucker on anything he said. Anything.
Strong.
So Kirk comes on, and if you guys recall, the first 2 or 3 months of that show, it's almost like Kirk was in a different booth. He was saying things underneath their conversation. Those two are talking back and forth about, whatever the fucking problem was. And Kirk is underneath saying shit, and they're not even acknowledging him. And I'm laughing my ass off. Finally, he gets like a front seat with those guys. And the day he shredded Jerry after one of his fucking rants was, I needed a fucking Roman swipe. Because it was that fucking good. And I'm like, finally, someone calls this asshole out. And what does he do on his own? By the way, wasn't he asked to join Kirk's podcast like a year ago?
Yes.
During radio.com, you're correct.
Right. And what did he say? No, I can't. Jerry is out for fucking Jerry.
Yes. I'm with you.
His contract. He threw over Dino because he knew he'd have another 5-year contract with Kirk. What he didn't count on was Kirk burning out and getting shit canned at EEI. And then when he had the opportunity to, by the way, the guy's a fucking multimillionaire. He has a summer place in fucking Biddeford Pool, which is beautiful. Biddeford's a shithole, but Biddeford Pool is fucking gorgeous. He acts like I'm just a working man. I'm out for the working man. He's Bill O'Reilly light without the fucking molestation of women.
Well, you don't know that.
That we know of.
Yeah, I do. But that we know of. Thank you, Andy. Don't defend him, Mike. He's a fucking cocksucker.
No, I did. I was on your side.
Right now.
Andy, Ned, I was on your side.
He'd be doing.
I thought you were defending Jerry. I was like, no.
He would still be doing Mutt and Callahan tomorrow if they would have had him.
Can I
say what I love?
And now he markets his podcast with, we're ditching the corporate stooges. It's
He's
like, no,
not.
the corporate stooges ditched you, Jerry.
What I love about that Ned Snark rant is I saw in the group chat that I make before, like the week of the show, Ned Snark says, no one mentioned Jerry Callahan because it's a trigger for me. I'll go off
Right.
on a rant. But I kind of forgot about it. And then out of nowhere, he brings up Jerry Callahan. And I was like, why is he saying this name? And then he tells me to stop talking. And I remember.
I hate space. How the fuck do you hate space? First of all, he's a year older than me. At Pine Glen Middle School in Burlington, Massachusetts, they would wheel in the fucking TVs so we could watch the space launches and the splashdowns. You're going to tell me that little Jerry Callahan, where does he live? What's he from? What's the city?
Chelmsford?
Chelmsford. When they did the same fucking thing, he was like, I hate space. Fuck you, you hypocritical liar. And
that's his Jim Florentine rant. You know, what's the deal with
don't defend
space?
him. Don't fucking defend him. So, seriously, this
thinks that's
this motherfucker, he hates all liberal. He hates Ben Affleck. He hates Matt Damon. He hated Johnny Damon. He hates everybody who is a liberal making money, but he loves Trini and Shaughnessy and Tomasi.
And Reamer.
Okay, Reamer's kind of fun, but you're right. But how everything that's shitty about the Patriots goes to John motherfucking Tomasi. And how can he sit there and be a Patriot fan and not punch that fat fuck in the face? I have no idea. Now, of course, I've been drinking my Jameson, so I might be on a full rant. But come on, man, he's such a fucking fraud, and that's where I loved Kirk from the very beginning when he just shredded him with Stolen Valor, Callahan, and all that. You know, it was fucking brilliant, and I'm like, love him. That's
what do you got, DEC and Andy? What do you guys think of the Jerry?
Andy's with me.
What do you guys think of the Jerry Kirk relationship? Because it ebbs and flows. There's times where Kirk's like, you know what, he's my buddy, he's one of my good friends. Sometimes I go too far, and then there's times where Kirk's like, you know what, fuck him, he was disloyal.
How did you forget about Steve Buckley writing that article for The Athletic? He's lying.
Yeah, that's a lie.
Of course that's a lie. Yeah,
or he never cared enough about Kirk to remember that. I could believe that too.
That's a good point.
So I first got active on Twitter, Mike, in fall of 2018 when Kirk was off air, and Jerry quickly became the target of a lot of my ire because I really think, and Kirk alludes to this too, that all joking aside, all the funny stuff aside, Entercom weaponized an employee's mental health leave because the employee almost killed him.
Andy, I have said that.
And they used it against
that should be a national story.
It should. And Jerry Callahan didn't have Kirk's back. Okay. And Kirk cannot let that go. It comes up every so often. That is at the root of when you look at things and you're like, oh, it's just an ad from The Athletic. Why is Kirk flipping out? He's not really flipping out about the ad in The Athletic. He's flipping out because they fucking wouldn't let him on the air after he almost jumped in front of a train. And Callahan just yucked it up with Mutt the entire time and didn't go with him.
So Andy, is Dino's complaint about going to rehab?
Next to Kirk, and like they worked together, not regularly, but he was a regular either in spring training or in the studio. And to do fucking that, Kirk's 100% right on this. And then to take fucking Murchison's side and the paper side, and Steve's even older too, right? He's like 65 or something, right?
Yeah, roughly.
Oh, Buckley. I thought you meant Robinson.
So he's
no, he's 80.
So he's on the back nine of his career, and he doesn't want any issues. So he writes this fucking article where it makes Kirk look like he's deranged, rather than the fucking guy in fucking Ashford. Sherborne, who's the real fucking lunatic, and Shirley. No, and that's the thing with Kirk too. With Jerry in that regard is he says he hates these people on mic, but he loves these people. He wants to be with those people. He wants to be in that group, like Howard Stern a couple years ago. Yeah. Bingo, exactly.
What does DEC think? Because DEC, you're kind of a Jerry guy, right?
DEC is a big Kirk and Callahan guy.
I was a big Kirk and Callahan guy. I will tune into Jerry's show from time to time. If there's a topic I like, it's a typical podcast for that. There are a lot of times that I am embarrassed to say, I don't like saying this. Sometimes I wear out after 10 minutes. It's just not my cup of tea. And the sound quality is awful.
Oh, well,
hey, on a different topic here, we're missing some big stuff. We're missing some big stuff. I'm looking at this chat here. I've been watching it the whole time.
Go for it.
And all of the women, and for some reason, Intern Will, want to have sex with Ned Snark.
I mean, Ned. Why are you?
I don't know. If you guys didn't notice it, I leaned over to Justin and said, "Are there any questions in the chat?" And he said, I don't know. Everyone just wants to talk about how hot Ned Snark is.
One woman said, I've got to bring this up. One woman, this Cherokee 51774.
How many women do I have watching?
Said, I'm the ugliest
11.
person on here and I'm a creep. And I have to say, this one hurt my feelings. I thought it was kind of good looking, but
DC's not a bad looking man. DC's a very.
I could be Ned's wingman.
DC
I
is
thought I
very.
was going to win.
But this
most
Cherokee
surprisingly handsome Minifan, and
51774.
Ned,
Fuck you.
I'm a gargoyle compared to Ned.
Oh, stop.
DC is presidential looking. I've always said that.
DC is presidential.
Yeah, Brandy is saying this. Intern Will is like all over. All of a sudden, he's got like a hard on. But like Allison is like, I'm going to rape him. And Madawaska, Brandy's saying that. The blind advocate for some reason also has got a hard on, which is very weird.
Ned Stark, watch out for him. He's a wild
one guy blind advocate likes.
He's a wild card. So the ladies.
May 11th, 35 years of marriage, same woman.
Well, we'll see. Ned Stark, let me tell you something. Madawaska, things change. Things change. Doesn't matter how many years. Doesn't matter how many years you've been married up in Madawaska. Things take a turn up there.
I'm glad you got Ned on the show. I could get him out of the shadow.
I've asked him.
Andy, you married?
I ever ask you to be on, Ned, or no?
No.
You should have. I should have. That was a mistake by me.
That's all right.
Shame.
So, everybody out there, would you guys want to have a Minifan show with both Ned and Andy? You would have me, the boring one, the ugly one. You'd have the counter. You'd have the conspircy theory guy and Andy Mayo. And then you'd
I
have
barely
the
talked
lunatic.
On this episode. You guys would be great. The three of you would be great.
I would do it.
Do it.
Heartbeat.
I barely spoke on this hour. It was awesome.
Oh, I'm glad you did
I had a
last
timer.
I hope I didn't talk too much.
No. You guys were all fantastic. I
got a lot.
My game plan was to not
great
talk.
opportunity.
DC and Ned Snark apparently don't like the sound of my voice, even though they listen to every goddamn episode.
No. It's loud. It's loud. Hey, and by the way, do I show up on the downloads in Hollywood, Florida? Because Steve said you can tell downloads by place or destination.
My server, I can actually find more detailed stuff than Steve can. So I'll look up Hollywood, Florida.
Here's the thing too. Someone explain me because I'm a fucking idiot. On iTunes, I 5-star it, right?
Yep.
I 5-star the episode, which is also a bitch to get to, but I 5-star the episode. Then I see like there's only like 5,700 ratings, which I think is ridiculous, right? That can't be correct. So then if I go into write a review,
can I tell you something? Ned?
My stars
that's
are gone.
A lot for a show that's been on 7 months. If you look at a lot of podcasts that have been on for years,
yeah, it's the top 1%. It's a lot.
It's pretty good.
Well, so when you go to leave a review or write a review, I sometimes will write a review, but my stars are gone. So I redo 5 stars and then I'll write a review or not. So am I voting twice or?
No, you're replacing what you did before.
I think,
okay.
I think.
Okay.
But anyway.
Too bad all those Callahan fans dragged down the KMS star rating.
that
was mean of them.
And Sunday
was mean.
They really hit us hard.
Jerry, I love you, Jerry. You're the best. Fuck! I want to blow my fucking brains out.
Mike, we need a whole episode where we talk about whatever we're going to talk about, but we do it in the Callahan voice the entire time.
What are you, Andy? That's ridiculous.
I think it'd be great.
I'm going to do this for 2 hours.
I'll do it if we can do half of that and half.
Oh, am I going to laugh like blind Mike?
I'm going to need some hot water and honey by the end.
You know, they live in a mansion in Hyannis.
Gonna make America great again.
Benefit pool. You know, fuck him and his Toyota fucking truck too. He doesn't even buy an American truck. He buys a fucking Japanese truck.
Yeah, and fuck Cullinane too.
How's that?
No.
Wait, yeah. Can we go off on Cullinane?
All right. No. You know what, guys? We got another Hall of Fame half hour waiting. But go ahead.
Go
off on Cullinane. Go ahead.
Actually, I love Callahan. Sometimes he's a dick, though. Sometimes you'll be busting balls on Twitter, and Callahan will come back and just not play along.
Well,
like when I accused Rich _Mandarin of being Dave Callahan, Callahan was like, "I think it's time to put to bed this theory that I have multiple Twitter accounts."
Dave is my type of crazy. I fucking love Dave.
It was the best way to describe Callahan is that call with Kirk the other day.
Yes.
When he's screaming at Kirk, calling him an asshole. And then in maybe the only 40-second spurt where I'm not laughing in that, Dave goes, "Oh, it's really fucking funny, Mike." that is Dave Cullinane.
But Dave is that guy.
Yeah.
And then in 5 seconds, he'll flip a switch and have a mood change and be the jovial guy, like nothing happened.
Yeah.
Well, when Kirk says something like, Dave, what did you know about this athletic? And he's like, well, you called me. And something just changed.
You called me a
I
snake?
pissed myself laughing. Right.
Yeah, he doesn't like that.
You called me the same thing everyone else in Boston radio calls me? How dare you?
No, but Callahan, love him.
I feel
boys,
bad for
He's
him.
got 2 kids. Good for him. And he's managing kids behind the scenes.
Yeah.
His wife is
Jerry
hot
Garcia.
too.
He actually
is.
stole.
Very-
She's cute.
Very
Well,
attractive woman.
He didn't
Of course,
steal,
she's
but
younger
he
than my daughters. So okay.
he preempted an idea I had when
Only
I
like
thought I was
47.
going to go
She's
on
not
this show
younger
with DEC, and I was like, all right, DEC is going to really lay into me at one point. I told my wife, I was like, I'm going to need the baby. I'm going to hold the baby and let this guy tell me what a fucking asshole I am holding this adorable
You
child.
wouldn't have stopped me.
And then, no, I'm sure it wouldn't have, you monster. And then Dave Callahan beat me to it. I'm glad Great Thinkers is dead though, Mike. You know why?
Well, I like great thinkers.
Your format is better. And I'm
Thank
sorry,
you.
Dave. If anybody should be doing a Minifan show, it's the guy working on the Kirk Minihane
That's
show.
Well, thank you, Andy. I know.
I like
So-
great thinkers. But
I meant to talk to DEC about this. So
That hurts to say.
his criticism was that I stole Mike and the Minifans from Dave.
You
It's
did, but
funny
it was
because-
righteous.
No. It's funny because I actually stole it from DEC.
Well, that's
about
true.
a year,
That's
about
true.
a year, little over a year ago. DEC. Remember when you talked to me about doing the Minifan show,
Yes.
and it was going to be a roundtable, and I loved
Yes.
that idea, and it never really got done. And I envisioned it like when Callahan started doing the 10, 15-minute shows, I envisioned it as more of a long form show. So I really more stole it from when you and I were talking. And
And
then
I
ended up
stole
being
my idea from the Stern
the
Fan
Howard Stern show.
Roundtable.
Yeah. Well,
Right.
so that was my point. And I know
Right.
you don't really mean it. I want you to have you on and bash you, but I know you don't really mean it. But when I hear you saying like I stole it from whatever, it's like I don't know. Did
I
fucking
don't even
Conan,
remember saying that.
did
I
Conan
probably
O'Brien
did.
steal the format of a talk show from Johnny Carson, or do multiple people just do it?
He stole
Like,
from
it's-
Jack
I
Parr.
think you're missing the point that I
DEC
like
knows
to
who Jack
bust your
Parr is.
balls.
No, I understand that, DC. But what I'm saying is, I stole the idea from you. You should take credit for that.
Great.
Everyone steals ideas, for Christ's sakes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
don't borrow,
Cars-
steal.
Carson stole from Jack Parr, who stole from Steve Allen. Right?
And-
right?
Right.
Yeah, there we
I
go.
will point out
I don't
I'm a
know
Carson
who you guys
aficionado.
are.
And he's going, who the fuck are they?
the first ever Mike and the Minifans was me, MHB, DEC, about a year ago at this time. So really,
Yeah.
I mean,
I
who
listened to that.
Who stole what? I don't know. But so I want to switch over to the second hour. But first,
Yes.
you guys have been great, and I wanted to go around and see if any of you have one last question or comment before we switch over to the next group. I'll start with Andy.
I did come in with like 13 DEC is
I know
boring
you have a
jokes.
million questions.
I'll
but
save them for another day.
Try to do one.
Let me see. Oh, okay, here we go. My idea for the ultimate Kirk Minihane show, live show / crazy travel challenge for the fans,
Mhm.
cross country with Kirky.
He would have to do it though.
He would, but he talks all the time about driving cross country.
But driving cross country with Minifans?
So what I was thinking you could do is you set up a tour, right? You set up a tour in major cities and you let Kirk set the route, and then you have tours along the route. And then a very select group of Minifans get to go in one Winnebago on the actual tour. And then the rest of them get to go to the live shows along the way. And Kirk doesn't really even have to interact with the people, but there's a core
Yeah.
group that get to win a chance in the Winnebago. And then the rest of them follow. And then it would be like people who follow fish. You would end up with stragglers that catch up with you in like Wyoming. And
I
then
love the
follow
idea.
you.
Kirk
Like,
doesn't
bring it
have
up
that.
to him, Mike.
I
Okay?
love the
Also,
idea. I
Tell
don't
him
know
I'm
if it'll
sorry
happen,
we're not
but-
friends anymore.
All right.
Mm.
DC,
I miss
final
him.
thoughts or questions?
I have a little bit more respect for Mayo. I think he would be great on to just like yell and scream.
Yeah.
But freaking Ned Snark, man, we have underutilized Ned Snark as a talent.
Completely.
I think he overwhelms all of us. So Ned, you did an
not
awesome
true.
job.
Well,
It
thank
is
you.
true. You did awesome.
But thank you.
Ned Snark, we're going to try to get you out. We'll try to do something when we're in Miami. We'll try and figure it out. We'll see what.
Sure.
I genuinely have no idea what the fuck is going to happen in Miami. So we'll try to figure something out.
Yeah, I
But
had
any-
an idea and I sent you a text and you didn't get back to me. So I take that as a no.
What'd you say?
Me?
I said, would you be able to do like maybe 5-10 minutes a couple times or every day next week and just do a Miami update? We could put it on
Oh,
the
yes.
Minifan feed. I
Yes,
thought that'd be
absolutely.
kind of a cool idea.
Well, I could do it. I would probably do it for the Kirk Minihane show page. But yeah, I could try to do it.
Okay.
We'll figure it out. Ned Snark, any final questions?
Yes,
or
the
comments?
Aussie Minifan podcast was fucking great.
Hmm.
I loved it.
Well,
Those
I
guys
think we'll get to that in the
are
second hour.
15-hour, Mike, 15 time zones away. 15-hour time.
A lot of time zones.
And
Imagine this, Ned Snark. They're in tomorrow right now.
yeah,
I know,
they're
that's
in tomorrow
wild.
right now. Yeah.
Why
So
don't they warn us about bad shit that happens tonight?
It's a great question, Andy.
Give us the
Yeah.
lottery
Andy,
numbers.
did you hear
Dicks in Australia.
did you hear your chicken bullshit vaguely referenced last week?
Maybe.
It was Kirk said it at some point. He was like, "Well, it's not any of that chicken bullshit that was talked."
I did
forget
get that. And I
It was
have
like
a
very,
finely
very
tuned ear
slight.
for,
but
for me being mentioned.
You were brought up. All right, boys. Thank you for
So
coming
those-
on. This was
Those
awesome.
guys are great.
I think this should be the next Minifan show, if not the Minifan show forever. But either way, I think you guys all did great. Thank you for coming on, guys.
See you in
Thanks,
Miami
Mike.
and Madawaska.
See you,
See you
boys.
guys.
Get the next batch of maniacs in. And while you do that, Justin, I will tell you folks about the People versus Rich Kelleher's sticker campaign. The People versus Rich Kelleher's sticker campaign, they're really the only people keeping Rich Kelleher's name alive. A little strange. The only reason I would bring up Rich Kelleher's name is the People versus Rich Kelleher's sticker campaign, but they are a great sponsor, and they want to let you know that they do not support Rich Kelleher. Fuck Rich Kelleher. He's a dildo sniffing douchebag or whatever it says at the bottom of the screen. He's a real piece of shit. He's an attention grabbing whore. I'm sure he's kind of a nice guy. But anyways, the People versus Rich Kelleher sticker campaign. How do you support them? It's just a feeling you have in your hearts, folks. It really is. And there's the benefit of the People versus Rich Kelleher sticker campaign is you don't have to sign up. There's no fees, nothing. It's just a feeling you have. And also, before I talk about my guests, just check out peakimagemedspa.com, because if you want to start looking good, my guys at peakimagemedspa.com are the guys to check out. All right? Is that enough plugging? Hello, fellas. What's going on? We've got Matt from Providence,
Hello.
as always. Essentially my co-host. I only let him on for half the show because I want to give everyone a chance, but he's really my co-host. We've got TJ Hubbard.
Beautiful shirt, TJ.
Is he speaking?
Oh, he's trying.
Oh, can we not hear
you,
TJ Hubbard?
TJ.
And Rich Mandarin, of course. What's going on, Rich?
What's going on?
Rich underscore Mandarin was very happy
Yeah,
that
can
I
we make that clear
defended his
before-
honor. The guy in last week was Rich
Jesus.
Mandarin, not Rich underscore Mandarin. I assume that was a big controversy.
Yeah, that's a tough. They got the same names, so they're two complete opposites.
What can you do? But they're both
Same
fairly
name.
popular accounts.
There's some beef there, though.
I'd say one more than the other, but I mean, who's counting?
But I will say this is the real Rich Mandarin,
Yes,
the guy that's on now.
Thank you.
this
Chris.
is our guy.
Is TJ Hubbard able to hear us? So
There you
what's
go,
going on
TJ.
with him?
He just left. He's trying to.
Oh, what a piece of shit! All right, boys, what's going on? Let me start with this. It was the Matt, specifically you, as you're on it pretty much every week at this point.
Yep.
It was kind of a joke at the start of the show, but do you think I talk over people too much, talk too much, or is it kind of like I'm setting
I've
up the
never
show?
really gotten that vibe. I mean, you're here with a bunch of people who don't do this every day, so you kind of need to
Right.
fill the void. Not everybody has something to say every second of this whole show, so
Yeah.
you need to step in and carry things every once in a while. It's completely understandable. Different groups, like look at that first show, the first half tonight. Those guys
Awesome.
all handle themselves on the microphone, and you just sat back and let it happen. So
Yeah.
I think you're handling.
How do you?
it
I
correctly.
recommended you specifically, Matt, for the Minifan show. I think, in my mind, you've always kind of been MHB's replacement in this world. Like when MHB started to kind of drift off and dealing with his own shit, I feel like Matt from Providence kind of stepped up. Do you see yourself in that way or no?
Not really. I think he's got a lot more. I don't. He's
much
good
more of
on
a
the
he'll
microphone.
dive in a lot more. He's much more of a journalist.
Yeah, he's good at that kind of stuff. The whole podcasting, whatnot. I mean, I consider myself no more than bare minimum able to just speak a little bit. That kid can really jump in and have an argument and emulate Kirk better than anyone else out there.
That's true.
Not to say that he's anywhere near Kirk, but he does a good job.
And I will say, I should have said this earlier, but we will. despite, I guess the only comments on the chat on the first half were how hot Ned Stark was.
Oh my God,
But
it was
we
unbelievable.
will answer any.
Gorgeous
You guys have
human
any
being.
questions for me or my illustrious panel here? Start sending them now. Justin will keep tabs on them. We'll answer all your questions at the end.
Ned Stark is the new breakout Minifan tonight.
Handsome guy, huh?
Oh man, it's intimidating.
Gorgeous.
To follow that guy.
Perfect, chiseled.
Good for his wife. Married 30 years or whatever he said.
Brad Pitt's brother.
Ooh, TJ's in. What's going on, TJ?
Coxman.
Yeah, geez, I'm back, Mike. I'm back.
Thank God.
I love that shirt.
Thank you.
So where do you guys want to start? Where do
Yeah,
you?
TJ, describe the shirt.
Oh yes, describe.
It's a random Chihuahua. Let's see. I got a lot of area right here. A random Chihuahua has a nice little red nose right there and a little bow tie. It's nice, but the eyes are crossed out for some reason. I mean, it'd be a nice shirt to wear in Miami, I think.
I think of all the Minifans I've met to hang out with. TJ Hubbard has been the most fun. I haven't spent a ton of time with a lot of them. TJ Hubbard, Steve, and I had fun in Foxwoods or wherever we were. So I think Madawaska will be fun with TJ.
I can't wait to hang out with TJ.
Great time. I'll tell you what. When I was down in Foxwoods with you guys, I didn't know what to expect, and you guys were fun too. You know, Steve likes just to piss in someone's hotel room randomly and leave the door open. Thought that was pretty cool.
What did he do?
That's all right. He went and took a piss in the hotel room. He didn't even shut the door. He just was like,
Oh, my
just
God.
let it go. Let it go.
That's
But
classic.
hey, you know, that's what
Everybody's
happens when you're
America's
a Mainer.
neighbor, Steve Robinson.
Yeah, when you're a Mainer though, it doesn't matter. You just go outside and you piss. Fuck it. You know.
So where do you guys want to start? Miami, Madawaska, or the shows from the last 2 weeks? What do you think we should do?
Speaking of Madawaska, I'm a little insulted I wasn't thought of for the live show, Mike. I'm driving up with Kevin from Bristol, so I will be there if he's there.
I'll tell you why, Matt. So Kevin and Lauren reached out to me, and I thought maybe this is maybe you know what? Maybe you're right. Maybe I should have you. And
I mean, no, it's fine.
Maybe it should be you and me.
I'm
But
really just kind of busting balls, but
I understand.
You know, I'll do one of those round table seats for 5 minutes or whatever, if that's.
Maybe we should add Matt to maybe it should be Matt, Kevin, and Lauren, and then we have a bunch of people in. You know what? That's right. Add Matt to the lineup. I pointed Justin like he's going to jot it down.
Just talk my way right in there.
I like that. Well, Matt should be. I mean, Matt is essentially the co-host of Mike and the Minifans, really. In fact, I messaged you and I said, "Would you like to be on every week?" And you said, "Yeah." So
Yeah.
we're basically partners in this,
I
even though
just
you're
wait
on
to see
half
what
the episode.
time you have me on. So
Yeah. And then when I die eventually, it'll be Matt and the Minifans, and it's easy. That's the nice thing is it's an easy trip. Matt and the Minifans it sounds right, like
It
it's just the same
flows.
thing. Yeah. So where do you guys want to start? Anywhere in particular?
wherever you want to go.
I get.
I did get
so I
my.
guess we didn't
I got my
talk about.
call. Did you get your call today, Mike?
What do you mean?
Confirming your room at the Innovacadia. I got my call. My phone started ringing. Said Madawaska, Maine. I was like, "Ooh, what is this?"
Well,
and they were confirming my reservation. So it was
that
a nice
worries
little...
me because no, I did not.
Uh-oh. I guess I saw a couple people say they got a confirmation call. There's a wait list for rooms. So they're just making sure everybody.
You know what? Steve booked my room.
So he got a call.
Hopefully
today.
Steve got a call.
Well, the place is packed.
And
I
the
think
lady,
the ice fishing
full.
derby.
the lady was very nice. She's like, "Yeah, okay, just making sure. We can't wait to have you guys. It's going to be a fun weekend." And I was like, "Awesome." So they're on board with the Minifans.
I don't know if Madawaska knows what they're in for, but I guess what we didn't get to on the first half of the show was the last 2 weeks of fucking shows. I find this to be, I mean, I guess there's not another daily podcast to compare it to, but this is the most amazing 2 weeks of podcasting I've ever heard of. And I feel like it's almost not getting enough credit.
Yep.
Like when you think about, we started 2 weeks ago in a guy's fucking living room, a guy that paid $5,000. We were just in his living room. Between then and now, we've had Steve almost quit. We've had Kirk's interaction with the cops, my interaction with the cops. Richard Chandler hung up on us. I didn't know where North Dakota was. Harry Minihane was in studio. A lot of shit happened in the last 2 weeks. And I think it was maybe the most historic 2 weeks of podcasting that have ever been done.
Well, it was definitely a good 2 weeks. It's been amazing to listen to. I think the whole thing with Steve was compelling, but made for one hell of a fucking podcast.
It also
Jesus
seems like
Christ,
now.
that was fucking awesome.
Seems like I was right. Steve's sticking around, right? Like he made it through that, and I think he's going to be fine, right?
Of all the
Do we
great
not think
episodes
so?
from the
I
last 2
think-
weeks, though, I thought that Kevin Cullen show episode was unbelievable.
Which one are we talking about?
Between Bohemian Geary, 1920s Jim Florentine, Kirk's Kevin Cullen calls. I don't know why those just get right to me. I love when he does the Cullen impression.
Hey Matt,
That
wouldn't that have made a great Twitter video? Wouldn't that have been an awesome clip to put on
That would
Twitter?
have been great. Yeah,
It's funny you
for
say
sure.
that. Hey, did you notice it wasn't on there?
I didn't notice it specifically, but now
Well,
you saying it.
Let me tell you about this. Yeah, I'm glad. I'm glad you brought this up.
Did you
Matt.
suggest that?
Did I suggest it? So every day, I come home and I do the timestamps. I go through the show and I say, here are the segments. Here's some bits maybe that should be clipped. And I send it to Intern Will. And usually he clips them all to me. Unless he just doesn't feel like it. And then so the Kevin Cullen call where Kirk calls as Kevin Cullen for the first time after the lawsuit. The lawsuit was he calls a school as Kevin Cullen. And it was very funny in the context of the show. Will doesn't send it to me. That's fine. Maybe he didn't know to send it to me, whatever, even though I timestamped it. I text him and say, can you send me the Kevin Cullen clip of Kirk calling Winchester High School? No response. I copy and paste and send it like hours later. No response. Then he responds and says, sorry, I'm in class. I'll be out at 5:30. Between the hours of 5:30 and 9 p.m., I wait like a jealous girlfriend refreshing my phone, hoping he's going to text me back. He just never does. And then at that point, I was like, you know what? It's not worth it anymore. If I tweet it out now, it's not going to it doesn't fucking matter. But Will has been a huge disappointment. I really wanted to get that out there.
For as good of a 2 weeks as you guys have been having, Will has just been on the complete opposite end of the spectrum.
In spite of Intern Will.
You guys are soaring, and he's just spiraling out of control.
Intern Will has done everything he could to make sure we had a horrible 2 weeks, and yet it's been the best 2 weeks of the show.
Yeah, you got bailed out with some of that video and whatnot, so, was his video that good?
When is enough enough?
What's that?
When is enough, you're saying, Rich?
Yeah, when is enough with like the interns? Not saying that I want them removed because I think they do a good job, but say that they keep just fucking up and it spirals.
Justin's basic job is for me, like helping me out with shit. And I think he does a good. I know I gave him shit for the Red Robin thing and everything. And there are certain things I'll continue to give him shit for. But more or less, he does a good job. Will I find to be incompetent? Well, you know what? I shouldn't give Will too much shit. He does certain things, like there are certain things he handles where I'm like, okay, I'm glad he's doing that. Like the press pass is a perfect example. I'm like, oh, he did an awesome job with that. But then there's the easy shit. Or there's the, hey, give me 15 minutes because I'm tired. I wake him up to go home and he says,
I couldn't believe that.
That takes some fucking balls. To say to the guy who's housing you and who you just hugely fucked up for. And I honestly thought at that point, here's the big thing about Will telling me, give me 15 more minutes. At that time, I thought I was in for a Kirk Minihane beating. That's what Will forgets, is that I thought I was in for, where the fuck is this video? So now I'm nervous about my own fucking job. And Will says, yeah, give me 15 more minutes. That takes some fucking balls. And that's kind of why I thought he should have been fired. Now, that might have been harsh. I like Will. He's a nice enough kid. But that's why I was like, fuck this guy.
Yeah, I like Will a lot, but that move right there is just preposterous. I don't get how you can feel like that's something you can do after the situation he put you through the night before.
Unbelievable. And I don't know. Let me ask you guys this. So Will tweets at one point. Why am I hearing myself, Justin? Is that normal? Okay.
Another fuck up on the fucking intern. Unbelievable.
As we're talking about it.
So Will tweets he tweets a screenshot saying the alleged "Are you up?" text, and then the screenshot is exactly how I described it.
Yeah, it's not alleged anymore.
What do you make of that?
Confirmation.
Is that was? I'm not crazy. That was him trying to show me up, right?
No, I don't think it was. I think that was him just trying to be like, "Yup, it happened," and get a couple likes. I don't think it was anything more than that.
Rich, you think that was him trying to show me up? Rich Mandarin.
Oh yeah, that was him trying to show you up, but at the same time, it was like, come on, you can't use allegedly and then confirm what the guy you're trying to show up is saying. That this is just bananas.
It would be like the alleged Monica Lewinsky tape, and then you have a tape of her blowing Bill Clinton. Like it doesn't make any fucking sense. Like I don't know what he meant by that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of alleged incidents, how about Tim from Canton solving the spilled hot chocolate case today?
I'm glad someone finally had the balls to bring it up. I was afraid to bring it up in the first hour.
Journalistic integrity.
It seems like Harry Minihane, much like his father. Now, I don't think Kirk realized that he was raising a journalist as brave as himself, because Harry Minahane's the only guy ballsy enough to bring up this chocolate milk incident. Now, I don't know what happened, but it seems clear to me that there are some questions.
It wouldn't shock me if Kirk had a little blow up at the counter on the guy.
Yeah,
through his hot chocolate.
That's what I'm thinking, Matt. And I'm thinking there might have been "Do you know who I am?" incident. There's something that Kirk wants to cover up here.
Oh boy,
he wasn't too upfront with any info.
What's up, Rick?
With Harry, you were a little, I don't know, cringy, I would say. Are you just awkward around kids, or is it because it's Kirk's kid?
Is that cringy audio-wise?
What?
It just kind of, it didn't seem right. Like it felt weird when you were talking to him.
Give me an example, or do you not? I understand if you don't have. I'm not even shitting on you. I'm just saying, give me what's an example?
No, just I think that there's kind of like a double standard when kids are in the room.
Yeah. So
where you like watch yourself.
Oh yeah, you could hear Kirk went into radio mode that after the Harry interview when he was still in the room. I kind of felt a little more like he was doing a radio show at that point.
I'm surprised Kirk didn't make fun of me for this.
Fuck him. You didn't hear that.
I'm surprised Kirk didn't.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I can barely hear it, TJ. What's wrong with TJ's mic? Oh, okay.
No, not just me. I can hear myself fine.
It's all right, buddy. So I'm surprised Kirk didn't give me more shit for this on air. But after, so we I don't want to break down a wall, but we recorded 2 episodes on Thursday. So the Friday episode with Harry was recorded the day before. So we finished the first episode on Thursday. And then I said, when we finished, I was like, hey, when Harry comes in, do I have to like watch my language or anything? And Kirk replied, I mean, he's fucking 8 years old. Yeah.
Don't go dropping any, serious.
So I was kind of nervous around him, I guess. But also, if there was so Harry stayed in the seat, so I would kind of look at him once in a while, and then Kirk called me out for it. But I think if Jerry Callahan was in that seat and not talking, I would have looked over at him once in a while. I don't know. I'm an awkward guy in general, and I feel awkward when things are different in the studio. So I was just uncomfortable, I guess. But I don't know if when he was in the studio.
It's understandable.
I think the dynamic between me and a child is funny because I'm not at all equipped to speak to them. And I'm just about it. Me and Harry Minihane are roughly equally intelligent. So I think that's kind of funny. But
I thought it was pretty funny how he, had a little bit of an opinion on Trump being an 8-year-old.
He's a big Trump guy.
These kids, they're getting it early in schools these days, I swear.
There's a funny thing where the whole time that was happening, I was wondering, because Harry's obviously an innocent kid who saw Trump on WrestleMania or whatever the fuck, you know what I mean? Like, He just thought that was a funny thing to say. The whole time that was happening, I was wondering, is there going to be a media outlet that says Kirk Minihane influencing his child or racist child goes on podcast? You know what I mean? Like that was the whole thing. I was like, wow, I wonder if that'll happen. And I don't think we're too far from a world where something like that will happen.
Yeah, that would be the youngest cancellation in U.S. history.
Right.
Unbelievable. But I mean, it is, kids are hearing that kind of stuff like at schools and whatnot. my girlfriend's nephew came home one day and heard from another student. He's like, I hope Donald Trump kills himself. And it's like, he's 5 years old. Like, where are you hearing that?
Oh,
You know what I mean?
beautiful.
And it's like some kid's parent is saying that to them. So that's just troubling.
Well, you'll hear a lot more of that in liberal schools. You'll hear, I mean, basically any private school, anything like that. You'll hear a lot of anti-Trump shit, and it's no big deal. But if some kid says, obviously innocently, he doesn't have any opinions on politics, but if a kid says something about Trump, immediately you think, are people going to take this seriously? Which is fucking ridiculous. But it's genuinely possible.
But you know what? At least what he said was genuine. Unlike that woman on Twitter, you saw that Elizabeth Warren action figure post?
Yes.
That was the most clearly fabricated story in the history of Twitter.
Why would you say that, Matt?
Are you kidding me? Did you see the bed has like just a little corner folded back? You know, and if that girl, there's even the smallest possibility that girl said that, it's because her mother has absolutely brainwashed her.
That's the weirdest thing, and maybe the reason I thought of that with Harry is like, you see the shit with Greta Thunberg, and we're now in a world where it's like, it doesn't matter what experience you have in a field or what your expertise is or what your knowledge of a subject is. If you just say something, we'll fucking react to it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Even on this is like a Minihane show podcast, but someone could take a clip of me talking about, if we went off on a rant about whatever subject, someone could take a clip of me and say, this guy's a racist or a sexist or whatever. And it's like, in reality, we're just talking shit about a show we like. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't, I don't know. It's very frustrating, but it's just the world we live in, I guess. And it's kind of what the Kirk Minihane show fights back against, I guess.
It never fucking ends, Mike.
Matt, you really hit the nail on the head. It never fucking ends.
Never ends.
So what do you guys expect from the Kirk Minihane show in Miami? Kirk, me, Steve, whoever it is, what do you expect from all of us?
A lot of frustration on Kirk's behalf doing the radio.
Yep.
Oh, yeah. Yep. Oh, yeah. Think he's going to be restricted as to what he's allowed to do, or possibly get in trouble for pulling a stunt without permission against someone who Dave's probably trying to do business with.
Do you think Kirk would get in trouble, though? Because Kirk's smart enough. He's not going to do something against a sponsor or anything like that. He'll wear a Dead Stella shirt or something like we talked about. But Kirk wouldn't do anything to disrupt business. So do you think Kirk would get in trouble, or would it be they would use the excuse if I did it?
Yeah, I think if you 100%.
Do anything,
yeah.
Like if you end up in media night and the story is, you know, Barstool's blind Mike dragged out of media night, I think that's going to come down to the whole El Pres not wanting you to be the face of the fight.
Can I tell you, Matt? I think I'll be fired. If there's a story, Blind Mike is dragged out of media night, which I plan on doing. I plan on going down there. I think I will be fired.
Which I don't think would be fair at all. You know?
No, of course not. But
how are you going to make that $400 a week?
Right, exactly, TJ. So I think there's a weird thing where Dave. But you know what? To be fair, and this is why I changed my Twitter bio. And I know at the time, like Kirk made fun of me because it was like a teenage girl making a statement. And at the time, I was probably, it was probably a fuck you. But the reason I did it, and it took Barstool out of my Twitter bio, is because I don't really work for Barstool. Barstool is one working for them. They didn't hire me or anything. I work for the Kirk Minihane show. So I think that'll be proved very clearly. If I try something in Miami and if I'm punished at all, I think that'll be very clear that I work for the Kirk Minihane show and not for Barstool.
Yeah,
well,
I mean,
who decided for you to have a check?
What do you mean?
Who was that? Who finally decided that Mike Gary is going to get paid? Who decided that?
I mean, essentially Kirk, yeah. Because they wouldn't have hired if Kirk said if Kirk said I have no use for this guy, they wouldn't have hired me.
It's almost the end of January when you get your W-2 back, Mike.
Yes, I just got it.
All right, what's it saying on it? Kirk Minihane show?
Yes.
Does it really?
Barstool Sports? That's a lie.
Oh no, I mean it says Barstool. I mean I am an employee. I'm an employee. So, I'm an employee of Barstool Sports. But I guess
you are and you aren't is I think what you're trying to say, right?
I guess what I'm saying is Dave
out,
Portnoy
fucking-
doesn't want me doing anything. No one there wants me doing anything other than Kirk Minihane. Like, there's no one there that's like, oh, I hope Blind Mike gets into trouble at media night.
Do you have any like content ideas for stuff you can do that wouldn't involve you getting in the news or in trouble and like just Mike on the street type stuff, walking into people, asking them questions?
See, that's the problem. Is I hate that. I'm happy to do that kind of stuff. If Kirk wants me to do it or whatever, I hate that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
I think what's very funny is breaking into Radio Row or Media Night and trying to make them uncomfortable. I hate and a man on the street segment where I'm like, hey, do you recognize this fella? Or you know what I mean? Like whatever the fuck it is. I hate those kind of segments. If they ask me to do them, I'm happy to do them. I'm happy to do what Andy suggested and try to do like something with KFC. Whatever the fuck it is, I'm willing to try it. The problem is Barstool doesn't want me to do anything. Like they want no part of me being there, I think. Which was made clear by them not paying for me to go, I guess. So they have that on their side, but it just seems very weird.
What you should do is whatever comes natural to you. If you're down there and you see somebody you want to fuck with them.
Yeah.
That's the end.
Well, here's what I think is going to happen.
Anybody. Just do a David Portnoy and go fucking limp.
Here's what I think is going to happen. I'm going to try to get into Radio Row. I'm going to try to get into Media Night, all that. And if it fails and it doesn't catch a blip on the radar, then nothing will happen. And if I get into Media Night and cause a big stir, then there's going to be a debate between Barstool and Kirk as to whether or not they should fire me. And that's pretty.
Probably the end of you and Kirk being part of Barstool.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you. We have this debate on the show quite a bit. What do you guys think? Would that be a good thing or bad thing for the show?
Wouldn't bother me any, except for the probably week or so gap in content.
Yeah.
I mean, I would assume it would take some time to figure out a new way to get the show up, right?
Nope. I mean, we have the studio, so I don't know. I don't know what the case would be there.
Would you guys have would you be able to take over the Minifan show RSS feed until you guys have your own thing up and running? Because I remember,
I believe the relationship between Kirk and Barstool is good enough that they would let them keep the RSS feed.
They would just give it right to you guys.
I would hope. Yeah.
He said he owns everything Kirk Minihane show, so
as he should. And there was, when you heard the thing with I forget who the guys were, they got fired from Barstool at the end of the year. But they had a meeting with Dave and Erica where Dave was like, yeah, we'll let them keep the RSS feed, all that. And then they heard them talking shit about Barstool. And then that's when Barstool was like, well, fuck them. So, yeah, I think Kirk and Barstool have a good enough relationship there. It's not going to end bad like that. But if it does end in a way that's like, well, maybe we shouldn't do this anymore, then, yeah, I don't think that'll be a problem, keeping the RSS feed and the Twitter account and all that type of shit.
Well, it kind of feels like there's some contingencies in place anyway with the YouTube channel. There's been some talk on the show about getting a website for blogging. So it kind of feels like once it's over with Barstool, whether it's the contract's over or they decide to part ways, it feels like it's going to be a natural transition anyway.
Yeah,
I'm waiting for Steve from Providence's game show to start. I'm dying to have that.
So Steve from Providence wanted me to host that game show. I think DEC is the perfect game show host. Maybe I'm wrong.
He's no Richard Dawson. Well, maybe he is, actually.
I think Andy Mayo would say Andy Mayo would be the best host.
You think?
Oh, no. I don't know. Jesus. I don't know. Right now, I think Ned's not hosted. I'll be honest.
Yeah, seriously. Throw him in a suit. Let him do his thing.
Everyone is overheated over Ned Snark. This is unbelievable.
He's the new fan favorite, Mike.
Waiting for him. Jesus. Yeah, we're gonna go up to fucking. I'm gonna bring a whole satchel of bananas when we go up to fucking Madawaska. There's Ned Snark.
So that's the other thing we got to get into is Madawaska. What are everyone's plans? What are the expectations? What are we hoping for? Are all three of you going to be up there?
Yeah,
I know TJ will and Matt will.
I'll be driving up with Kevin from
I will not be
and Jay from the Ramblers.
Rich Mander are not going to be in Madawaska?
No, I have a work retreat that I have to attend, unfortunately. Very upsetting.
Oh, my goodness. That's unfortunate.
But I will be at the Wilbur.
Okay. So that's something where I'm going to look like a real asshole because I said a few months ago, I was like, boy, you know, a 300-seat place is a lot to sell. I don't know. So if we sell out the Wilbur, I'm going to look like a real piece of shit for underestimating Kirk, but also I'm going to have to do stand-up there.
Oh,
That's
have you ever worked on any stand-up since the fiasco early on?
I've been toiling with some stuff, but I don't know. I wouldn't say I've been heavily writing. I think I've been toiling with some stuff.
And now is stand-up comedy something that you actually like truly have an aspiration to do in your life professionally?
So I love stand-up is my world, my hobby. It's my passion. It's what I love. But I genuinely don't think I'm funny enough to do it. Like, I really don't think I'm funny enough to do stand-up, which is why I haven't really done, or maybe I'm not confident enough, whatever you want to call it.
It takes a lot of work.
It does. It certainly does, which is why I have not done it. And I guess this is kind of pushing me to do it. And if the 5 minutes at the Wilbur goes great, and if I'm walked off to a standing ovation, maybe I'll start trying it. But odds are, I have a feeling the Minifans will not be particularly polite at the Wilbur.
You don't think so?
I don't. I suspect they may be critical of my work.
Yeah, I could
say.
say.
Now I will walk up and say, "Hey, gang, I've put some time into this. Give it a chance." But I suspect they may not give it a full chance.
I'm so looking forward to hearing a crowd of people singing these parody songs. That's something I can't wait for.
That's going to be great. And the Steve's a Liar guy is performing. I assume Matt, who's been a big part of this, will be involved as well. That's going to be fucking awesome, I think.
If any of those parody guys.
Yeah, Matt wasn't bad on the show the other day.
Oh, he's good.
Pretty good. Yeah.
I like Matt. He's funny. And he sent me a song that maybe played Monday. It's at my expense. I don't know if I care for that, but we'll see. We'll see if it gets on. So there are a couple shows premiered on the YouTube channel. First, let's talk about the Aussie Minifans show. Did you guys watch that?
Menner's got some chops, man. That guy is good.
He does. He was on with you last week, right, Matt?
Yeah, he does a good job. I enjoy listening to him. Yeah.
Now let me ask you this:
a little bit.
Does it ever get to be too much? Where you have Mike and the Minifans, you have the Minifans show, you have the Aussie Minifan. Does it ever get to be too much where it's like, well, people are saying the same shit at this point? I know everything, or is it still where you're like, I can't get enough Kirk Minihane content?
It depends on the content.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not watching every second of it, but I'm checking in. I'm seeing what they're talking about, and I'm sure different people will tune in for different amounts of time. I mean, right now I'm probably consuming 6-7 hours of Kirk Minihane show content a day. So between Twitter and the show, and so there's never really enough.
Right.
Well, I mean, once we have Ned Stark's game show, then we can have Rich Mandarin's judge show. So, people come to the front court between the Minifans. You be the judge. Stephen Providence can be the police guy that's sitting there. He bashes them overhead. But,
so someone reached out to me today that I think we're gonna have on next week. But he reached out to me today and said him and his brother are gonna start a daily Minihane show podcast for maybe 15-20 minutes a day, like kind of a recap show. However, I was going to do that as well. I was going to start doing that on the Instagram, YouTube, whatever. Does that get to be too much where people are like, all right, enough. Like we listen to this show. Now we have a recap show. Now we have 9 other recap shows throughout the week. Does that get to be too much at some point? Or are people that obsessed with this world that we're willing to hear everything?
Just let it go. Who cares if people are watching? It's not costing you anything to put it up.
That's true.
Yeah, just let it go.
And plus, we can
depends on the fan.
Want that in Barstool's face and say, look at all the content the fans are creating for this show. Even if no one's watching it.
That's why the Wilbur will be a big deal. So let me tell you, get ready for Monday, folks. That's all I can say. But get ready for Monday because the Wilbur is going to be a big deal, and I think it will show Barstool what this fan base is, because when the Wilbur sells out, I think that'll be the first time that Barstool will say, it doesn't matter. Like, for whatever reason, you can get 150 people to go to bumfuck Maine, the tip of the fucking country, and that doesn't tip them off. People will go to Sherborne, Mass, and that doesn't tip them off. But if you get people to sell out the Wilbur, that will really show them that this is a force to be reckoned with. And I'm excited about that. But I guess what I want to know is I lost my train of thought here. God damn it. What was I just talking about?
The Wilbur?
Marijuana.
No, before the Wilbur. What were we talking about?
Oh,
man. God damn it. Talk about something. So we talked about the Australia. Did you guys watch the Intern show?
No.
No.
Wow.
Ooh,
No,
I don't think I've
some of
watched
it.
one, to be honest.
Did you
So
watch
my
it?
ears started to bleed a little bit. I was trying to capture.
It was fucking rough, man. Jesus Christ.
Yes.
Holy shit.
From what I hear, Justin didn't want to be there.
Justin didn't want to be there. Will shouldn't have been there. Justin says not true. Justin, what I'm telling you is people watching seemed like you didn't want to be there.
I understand that, but I just don't want
I understand.
to tell you that I didn't want to
I understand. But I'm saying as viewers, it looked like you didn't want to be there.
Okay.
Will shouldn't have wanted to be there. And here's the thing. This was the week to have the Intern show.
Yes.
Justin tried to kill
One week for
himself.
the interns.
Justin tried to kill himself last week, and Will fucked up in colossal fashion. And yet they had nothing to talk about. It was the most fascinating.
Did we ever get the method, or did that tease go nowhere?
12 minutes in, Will goes, "Yeah, maybe we'll get to me and Mike's adventure at spring." That's the only thing people want to know about, you cocksucker. It's the only thing people are tuning in to hear is Justin hanging himself and Will at MGM completely fucking up, and neither of them talk about either. It's unbelievable.
That's mind-blowing. I'm glad I didn't listen now.
I'd recommend going and listening to the Intern show and just seeing how badly they fucked up. But Matt from Providence, what do you think about Intern Will? How has he kept a job for this long?
I mean, I like Will. We met each other at the Jack's Abbey and the Vigil, and he was great. I enjoyed his company. But he's just been fucking up colossally lately, and I don't have any defense for it. I really don't.
Here's my problem with him, and maybe I said it in the first hour. But so he fucked up royally with me. But it's the first time I've ever really dealt with him. And I defended him in saying he's Steve's guy. He helps Steve out every day. I've taken on some of Steve's duties as Steve grows into the sales world and all that. I'm now tweeting out the clips from the show account and everything like that. So sometimes when Will sends me stuff, I'm like, hey, I need this. And the Kevin Cullen thing is a perfect example. There were a couple other I can't think off the top of my head what clips I wanted. But the Kevin Cullen calling Winchester High School, perfect example of a clip I would want. I texted him several times for it. And then he texts me back and says, I'm in class till 5:30. All right, I guess he's in college, even though he's 25. I'll allow it. But 5:30 comes, it's 9 o'clock, and I haven't gotten anything from him. Like, Will is a fucking asshole, and I hope he's watching.
It's just bad instincts.
Oh, he's watching. He's watching.
It's terrible instincts. I think Will's an asshole. I think he called his parents to make me feel guilty. As much as he said that wasn't a ploy. I think he called his parents to harbor resentment against me. I think that was
Fair.
It was all part of a greater plan.
I mean, there's no reason to make that phone call there.
And I think the screenshot was a very passive aggressive tweet, and I saw Will liking tweets where against me, where they're like, "Oh, Mike's an asshole, right?" And Will's like, I'll like that one. So Will is on real thin ice. I'm gonna be on my way down to Miami. I'm gonna be talking to Stephen Kirk about getting Will out of here, but it's been very frustrating.
He's the only one not going to Miami, so
that is true. He's the only one involved, as he should be. The only one involved in the show not going to Miami. What do you guys hope to see from the show in Miami? Anything in particular, or are you just kind of hoping for chaos?
As long as we get the show every day like we normally do.
Well,
I'm fine.
that you will get. That I can kind of confirm you will get, I think.
That's all I care about. So, as long as we're getting that, and as long as you guys don't end up losing your jobs, I'm cool.
Yeah, that'd be good.
But would you be cool if we did lose our jobs?
Yeah.
Thanks.
Depends. Depends what comes next.
I think everyone would be fine. I'm not that concerned about Miami, really. I don't know. I'm more looking forward to Madawaska. Is that weird? That I like? It's weird. I'm going to Miami, the nicest weather place for the Super Bowl, and I'm more looking forward to Madawaska, where I'm going to be miserable as far as weather.
Well, look at who you have around you.
Yeah, it's our people. We're going to be with our people that weekend, so it's going to be an experience of a lifetime. I'm so excited.
That I'm missing out on.
And now there have been a couple rumblings. We've been discussing whether or not we should compile all of our old unwanted Red Sox gear for a ceremonial burning on the ice in Madawaska.
Please.
I think that would be a nice, inauguration.
I'm down to do it.
I would enjoy that.
I have a lot of unwanted Red Sox gear now, so I'm 100% down to join in on that.
Likewise.
Anyone else? Bring your unwanted Red Sox shit up to Madawaska. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Matt's going to be on Mike and the Minifans, Kevin from Bristol, Lauren Lynn, and then we'll rotate other people. Any question in the chat, Justin, as we get the fuck out of here?
Someone wants to know how much you've drank.
Too much. I've had a lot of
seems like it's
how was that?
5 minutes or so.
How was that, Mike?
Huh?
How was that?
Fucking delicious. I will say, and I said at the beginning of the show, Kevin from Bristol, the sexual harassment he gives my mother is worth it for his liquor recommendations. Tremendous job.
Now, have you re-listened to Bohemian Gary? Because I haven't been able to stop listening to it.
Just the clips. I don't have the raw version.
Oh, I don't like the raw version. I like to listen to you guys.
With us laughing at it.
Yeah.
A lot of people ask about that. A lot of people like us reacting to it on YouTube. A lot of people like the raw version. What do you think?
I prefer like the live show version.
Rich Mandarin, your thoughts?
Yeah, I like the live show because it just adds to it when Kirk's just pissing himself laughing at that end of the
Kirk is a great
Sam Kennedy line.
Right?
Yeah. And like, in Bohemian Gary, when he gets the line about like you being a pussy and crying, Kirk
I don't agree.
loses
I think
it.
it's in poor taste.
Now, why don't you upload both of them, or why don't you have the interns upload both the raw and live versions of them?
Because they're fucking competent, Rich. Yeah, I think that
There we go.
that's what it should be, and ideally. But sometimes I think
Who cares if YouTube? Just fucking upload anything.
I agree. Justin, make that happen. You could do that, right?
Speaking of Intern Justin, one problem I got with Intern Justin this week is the fact that he caved to Mayo to not put the dildo sniffing douche line under Mayo on the first half.
They didn't ask for it, so I just put.
What happened?
Mayo was bitching in the chat how he didn't want the dildo sniffing douchebag underneath him in the microphone.
She didn't do it?
No, I put fuck Rich Kelleher underneath because they didn't ask for anything particular this week.
Oh, that's not Justin's fault. That's based on what they asked for.
Okay, that's fine, Justin. You're off the hook.
Yeah, I gotta Justin credit on that one. It's not.
Okay,
we'll see.
All right.
Now I may punish him when we're going to sleep this week at some point. We'll see.
You just go to
Snuggle
Walmart
together.
when you get down there, Mike. Buy a pool float and a couple blankets.
Well, we'll see. Listen, Matt. We'll see how things go. Maybe Matt's sleeping on the floor, and I say, "Hey, you want to get comfortable? Come on."
Jesus.
You want to
It's even worse because you're drunk, dude.
Hey, listen. Anything else, Justin?
People notice your haircut and want to know how much it costs.
$20.
That's
It was a
cheaper.
20. This was a 20. Listen, this is a good looking haircut. $20 as opposed to Steve's $80 haircut. This was $20.
Didn't happen.
My beard and hair when I get it done now is $30. It's unbelievable. It's
Imagine
crazy.
getting a haircut for $80, man.
No,
He's such an
It's
asshole.
hey, you know what, guys? It seems almost unbelievable.
but I mean, any self-respecting man would know walking into a salon that you're gonna be paying more for a haircut.
Yeah, when you see 80-year-olds with the fucking
Yeah.
dome over their hair. Yeah, I would think they would understand that's not a barber shop.
Steve, for someone so smart, he's got his head up his ass a lot.
Steve's a very smart guy, but not smart in other categories. Just anything else?
Let's see.
But the chat is always very. I'm disappointed in the chat every week. It disappoints me.
Hey, Mike, what do you think of the possibility of there being a parody song CD or record or something available at the live show for sale?
Would people want a CD?
I would pay $10 for a CD.
I can make that happen for Madawaska.
I don't know how much it would.
Charity too. Pick a charity.
I don't know what it would cost to make it profitable or whatever.
Justin says he can make it happen for Madawaska. To be honest, the way Kirk operates, I don't know if it matters if it would be profitable. But we'll talk about it. Just as he could make it happen for Madawaska, we'll see. I don't know. We'll talk about it. That works. Would people want a CD?
I would.
All right, let's talk about it. Let's
collector's edition.
Let's work
15 years from now, when Kirk's as big as Jim Florentine, and he has a book for that Chicks book.
How do you
we'll
guys
be able
feel?
To be like, we got the copies.
How do you guys feel about the Jim Florentine shit?
He's fucking terrible.
So here's my thing. I like Jim Florentine. I can't say I like Jim Florentine. I like who he's friends with. I respect him as a comedian, I guess, because of who he's friends with. But whatever. I'm in on making fun of him. But is there a weird thing of us taking the first shot where Jim Florentine never made fun of us, and now we're going after him?
No, because I think it's a shot more at Barstool. Like, why are you promoting this guy? It's not really Jim Florentine. It's more Barstool.
Maybe the hardest laugh I've had in 8 months of podcasting, however long I've been on Kirk Minihane show. I think the hardest laugh I had is when we were playing a Jim Florentine clip, and Kirk, kind of off mic, goes, "What a disastrous hire." I mean, really. He goes, I mean, at least I have an audience. And that was the hardest I've ever laughed. I loved it so much.
But Mike, it's not just us saying that. Like, I was even on the Barstool Facebook. I saw they posted a clip, and all the comments on it are just bashing him.
Are people shitting on it?
Oh, they're bashing Barstool more. Like, why would you hire him?
It seems like not a Barstool hire. It seems so weird.
No. 1920s Jim Florentine is the funniest version of Jim Florentine.
That was the great. You know how people had horses?
I was losing it to that. And
my car has horsepower. Guess how many?
And I've seen speculation on Twitter that maybe that could have been Sour Shoes. Have you heard anything about that?
No, I don't think so.
I saw a couple people say that they thought it was him, and I was
I hadn't heard
Kirk
that.
would probably know if that was him.
I would think so. No, I hadn't heard that. But fucking awesome job. And yeah, did you guys listen to Barstool Radio the day they hired Florentine?
No.
So it was
I don't think
essentially.
anybody does.
Well, I did, and it was Portnoy hired him under the grounds of That Metal Show. Have you heard of that?
No.
It's a show about metal music that Florentine does, which I'm sure is fine. But Portnoy liked it, but it doesn't seem to translate to his podcast in any way.
Yeah, I mean,
just an odd hire.
I don't find anything funny about what Florentine does. He doesn't even have really a punchline.
So you look at Florentine, you look at $1 Million Worth of Game. I think they were hired to bring in different demographics, older and maybe African American. I don't know.
Yeah, but how old do you need with Florentine? I
don't know what Florentine's demographic is. I don't know.
60 plus, 50 plus.
I think Barstool really want to capture that. Barstool hire, but would he?
That's
ever
what they
do
want,
that?
maybe. Well, maybe for a gambling site, maybe that's what they would want. I don't know.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're saying, Mike.
You know
what? In typical fashion, I agree with what you have to say.
Thank you, buddy. No Justin, any questions before we get out of here?
Are you going to purposely try to piss off Portnoy down Miami?
Am I going to purposely try to piss off Portnoy? I guess so. Yeah. I mean, so Yes, and by that I mean I'm going to show up when he and Kirk are doing radio, and that will piss him off. So yeah, I guess so. Anything else?
Do you want to recreate your old Barstool videos down in Florida?
Do I want to recreate my old Barstool videos?
Spikeball Mike.
I will happily do that. The thing is, I would rather do them with Kirk, Big Cat, KFC. You know what I mean? Like at this point, the thing with Dave was, and I'll bring this up with him if I get the chance on the air. The thing with Dave was, my whole thing when I signed up as an intern, I thought it was playful. I thought I was part of the joke. And it became very obvious that it was just mean-spirited. Like, he hates me for whatever reason. He wants to insult me for having a disability. So if other people want to do whatever bullet, like if Smitty wants to play video games with me, I'm okay with that. But if Portner wants to do something with me, it seems like he wants to purposely be mean to me, which seems strange. So I'll have that conversation with him, but we'll see.
Last question is, does it ever end?
Does it ever end? No, it doesn't.
No.
It never ends. I'll go around. I'll go to both Matt from Providence and Rich Mandarin. I think TJ's checked out. Oh, TJ's back. TJ, I'll
I'm back. I don't think I have.
Anything you want to add before we get out of here?
I don't think you guys can hear me. Okay.
I can hear you. Yeah.
This is the best we've heard you all night.
I'm actually using a computer because my phone shit the bed.
Go ahead, TJ. What do you want to add?
First of all, I mean, I missed half the show, so it's not much I can add to it. But when you get down to Miami, I'll probably talk again before that. Get down to Miami, do whatever you want to do. Don't be, let's see, governed by fear. Is that how it says? Don't be governed by fear. Just do what the fuck you're going to do, man. Fuck them.
All
Fuck them.
Oh, yeah, and I want to get this on the record for everyone who says I never disagree with Kirk. I actually heard something I disagree with this week. I don't hate Michael Che. Kirk sounds like he absolutely hates him, and I actually like Michael Che. I don't think he's funny at all, but I like him.
Have you ever seen his Netflix special?
I haven't seen this Netflix special, but I saw him live at Caroline's on Broadway a couple years ago, and had like an interaction with him where he asked the crowd if anyone voted for Trump, and after getting like zero response, I raised my hand. Huge mistake because the crowd started to boo me. People were literally yelling down at me, "Die slow!"
Yeah.
And he stopped the crowd, which is why I like him. He stopped the crowd and he was like, "Are you actually like wishing death upon somebody simply because of who they voted for in an election?" Like, kind of calling that person a piece of shit. So I think he's like a pretty stand-up guy.
He's all right. I like him. He just goes after people on social media, honestly.
Yeah, and I haven't even really seen. Does he have a Twitter? I was looking for one and I couldn't find it.
I think he has a fake one that he goes after people on.
See, that's a little
Rich
weird.
Mandarin, anything you want to get to before we get out of here?
Yeah, I just wanted to bring this up real quick because the Matt Kelman thing kind of kicked it off.
Yeah.
Do we need? So MHB kind of led the charge with the Dale and Keefe reviews, or not the Keefe, the Dork podcast reviews. Do we need somebody to step up into that role to take that on to, lead the charge against EEI with their either phone calls, reviews on their shitty podcasts?
Yeah, probably.
Calling out Matt Kelman.
Yes, someone should do that. Oh, you know what? I wanted to get. I'm glad you guys are here for that. But bring him back in. Who is this fucking asshole? This Bruins writer.
Skate podcast or something.
Who is this fucking asshole?
Yeah, he does the podcast with Ken Laird.
And the fact that he would tweet that and not tag Kirk in it is just the ultimate pussy move.
But does he do any? Like, why would I know him, or wouldn't I?
I think he just does a skate podcast on EEI with Laird.
What a cunt.
Yeah, and I think he's on Sunday mornings during the hockey season.
And I thought, I was under the impression that most EEI personalities were under a directive to not even mention Kirk directly.
Well, that's the thing, is that, so I mean, I did a podcast for EEI. I can't speak to it largely because I praised Kirk on every podcast I did, and that's what I got in trouble for. I can't imagine what a cunt you would have to be to do a podcast and then say, hey, call Kirk out on it. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It seems like you're looking for attention, and you're not going to get the right attention because guys like Matt from Providence are going to give you attention for 9 minutes and then turn it and never think about you again.
And
But-
hit you with a couple bad reviews on your podcast. So it's
Yeah,
gonna-
I mean that's all you're
Yeah, it's
gonna
only
get.
gonna get worse.
But whatever. I mean, if that's what he wants, then go for it. But all
I
right,
just
boys.
don't understand how you're not going to tag somebody on the tweet. If you're going to talk shit, tag them on it.
Anything else, Justin, in the chat we should get to? Not really. Justin says not really. All right, boys. Thank you for coming on, guys. It's been a hell of a Mike and the Minifans. I appreciate it.
Anytime.
Good night,
And,
family.
We will talk next week. Godspeed, and I love you all.
Look at that stud, TJ.
I mean, not as good looking as Ned Snark, but
Another tough day at work today. Stephen Kirk, think I suck. Throw back a few wobbly pops, feeling down on my luck. And the interns ruin every show. But it's still where we want to go. It's Mike and the Minifans. 'Cause nobody had any better plans. You wanna be with DC and RA Minihane. The host can't see it's Mike and the Minifans. And nobody's seen real MHB. This whole thing is a sham. You never see him pee, it's Mike and the Minifans.